On this episode, Dude and Brett bring in Jeff, Rudra, and Sam to drink up some Smoke Wagon single barrels and uncut unfiltered. Catch up on our lives and hear our thoughts on these bottles on this episode of The Bourbon Hunters. But before we get started, do you want to support our podcast? Do you like bourbon gear? Visit our website at www.bourbonhunters.com to buy some of our custom bourbon gear and support the podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. I'm Duke Poor. I'm joined by
Samuel Shaw,
Brett Bryan,
Jeff Kress,
and
Rudra Trevetti.
And what you didn't hear was Tyler Schaefer, because he's not here yet again. So we're going to... also, the Black and Brown podcast reached out to me on the Tyler's Wrong episodes and said they agreed with Tyler on... what were we talking about? What was the show? Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso, yeah.
And I'm like, and I told them, I said, I lost all respect.
What did Tyler say about it?
He just said he couldn't watch it after season 2. He said he felt like it just wasn't any good because it got too sappy. And I thought the whole show was always sappy.
Yeah,
that was the point.
I can't watch it.
I haven't watched it.
I thought the point, sorry that my ears are connected to my heart. You know, I can't help it that I had feelings when I watched the show. That's just how it works, you know? It was. I thought it was a good show all the way to the end. I thought the payoff at the end was outstanding. I thought all of it just,
I've never seen it, so when I watch it, I'll let you know.
Oh, it was so good.
Is Dude the only one who's seen it?
I've seen it.
Oh, okay.
What did you think?
I loved it.
Did you watch it all the way through?
Yeah, and it's something that it was. You have to expect going into it that you're not trying to see some revolutionary, just super deep. So it's just a fun, happy show for fun, happy sake.
Well, and what I didn't know that the genesis of this show was actually when I think the United States. I could be wrong on this, but I do know the genesis of it. I just don't know what the event was that caused it. But there was an NBC commercial that Jason Sudeikis did. I think you might have even been the one to tell me this, where him and Beard actually did a commercial for the World Cup or whatever it was being hosted or on NBC or the USA or something. And so they were doing this little spoofy, 30-second commercials. And then that ended up turning into the idea or the premise for Ted Lasso, basically. And which was years later. It wasn't even months later. It was years later. So it ended up becoming Ted Lasso, which is kind of cool. So if you look those up, what's that?
I said that is cool.
I will say it was also, I don't want to say a product of its time, but when it came out was just as COVID was starting and it was doom and gloom everywhere in the world.
And he was just all
and
happy,
it was just
lucky,
a
just
pure
that makes sense.
It was watching just an episode of pure joy.
Yeah.
And it was having someone that was in a terrible situation that is just having pure joy as the lens that he sees it.
And Brett, knowing that you have Apple TV or Apple Plus or whatever it's called, I would honest to God watch it.
Yeah.
And just binge it. It's only 24 episodes total, maybe 30.
I think it's 30 or 36, but
there's only 10 to 12 episodes a season, and they're all a half hour.
You hear how much he glorifies this, and you've never watched it?
No, I don't.
He doesn't generally watch a lot
of
of TV, but he does watch Silo, and you have to wait week to week to watch that.
Well,
I've been wanting to get into that one.
So I read the books.
Okay.
So that's why I was into
I'm
it. There's
halfway
3
through
books.
the first book.
Yeah.
It's already some differences.
Yeah, there's quite a few differences.
I'll talk to you about it offline,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was crazy. I was already, page 5, different, but it was good differences and I thought they did a good job putting it into a show so far compared to what I've been reading, but the books are good.
I finally finished the last book, but...
Did you?
Yeah, it's
All right.
good. I was happy with it. Moving forward.
We've been talking for 3.5 minutes. Well, longer than that, actually. We've been recording for 3.5 minutes. We've got a whole bunch of Smoke Wagon here on the table. We already did a little primer of just the standard Smoke Wagon straight bourbon whiskey. What'd you guys think of that before we get started?
It was better than I remembered. Not that I thought it was bad, but I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to.
I thought it had a little bit of a corn finish to it.
Yeah.
But it didn't have that at the front of the tongue when I normally taste the youth of a whiskey. It finished with that, I thought.
It
which was
did,
weird.
but it also, as I got through the pour, it opened up a lot more. And
that
so
too.
it,
but I got a ton of vanilla.
Oh, definitely the vanilla.
Like, which, I know that's a standard bourbon flavor, but I love that standard bourbon flavor. So when that punches you a little bit, I can generally fight through any other flavors that might be there because I enjoy vanilla in my bourbon. What'd you guys think?
For some reason, I was getting like a peaty first taste on it, but it's probably something I ate earlier.
Yeah, you said that to me, and I'm like, I'm not getting the peatiness out of it, so I don't know.
I don't know why some of the...
You mean like your little young next door neighbor, Petey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Petey
Go
didn't
ahead.
have a
Very
head.
musky.
No, it's
a little bleachy, salty.
It's something I haven't had in a while, and I would say it's a good bourbon flavored bourbon.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well, and for that's their standard bourbon.
Yeah, that's the standard shelfer.
Shelfer,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're in Ohio now.
Yes.
Yep.
I saw that.
They even have the uncut unfiltered in Ohio.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize it
I was
was
sitting on the shelf the other day. I was like, "Holy shit!" And I just didn't
Wow.
have them. I didn't have them like $80 or whatever it is to buy it. I was like,
Yeah.
because I was getting ready for our 4th of July party. Yeah, Giant Eagle over on Britton Parkway just has it on the shelf.
I'll be damned. I might have to go grab one.
Yeah, remember the day I told you guys it was sitting on the counter?
Yeah.
A couple days later, it was just sitting on the shelf. They must not have. People must not.
know what it is.
It's not from Buffalo Trace. People don't want it.
Well, and it's not only that, but like I think because it's not a super well-known bourbon brand, I think people
Maybe.
just don't know that.
Yeah.
We talked about that 80-20% thing before, where a lot like 80% of the people are new
douchebags.
and,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and douchebags. Speaking of which, do you guys watch the TikTok guy that says "Don't be a whiskey douchebag" or whatever it is, or whiskey douche? I think's what he says.
No.
No,
I don't.
TikTok.
As somebody who does,
I don't either, but my
whiskey
son showed it to
marketing,
me.
No.
Yeah.
It's actually decent. Like it's taking the stupid things you hear people say when they're standing in line. Like
Yeah.
the one that someone just sent to me recently was basically the guy. He's like at the counter. He's like, so you see that I've got about $200 worth of bourbon that I'm about to buy. Can you just go on into the back and grab me one of those allocated bottles that you have back there? Since I'm buying all this, and they're like, well, we don't have anything back there. And he's like, no, I know how this works. I'm paying a whole bunch of money right now, which $200 in the bourbon world's not. I mean, that could be one bottle. That's not.
Yeah.
But just basically don't be a whiskey douche. And it was giving examples of how to be a whiskey douche through the TikToks. So that's the idea. Anyway,
So there might be more in line now if they follow that TikTok.
potentially. I don't know. I don't watch TikToks, but my son shows me stuff. So, all right. So we've got Smoke Wagon. I mentioned that already. We've got 3 Bourbon Enthusiast single barrel picks, which I think a couple of them might even be. This one's high, but I think one of them might be ready to be cashed. And the one that's ready to be cashed, I believe, is the one with the cool backstory.
Oh yeah.
And then I've got 2 uncut unfiltereds, one that's almost empty and one that is unopened. So we'll have
YOLO. Kill all of them.
to. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It could be a nice night.
Well, and what Aaron does, I mean, I love following him on Instagram because the way that he explains how he blends his whiskey, like you usually don't see that. And for
His transparency is crazy.
Yes.
And he
yes,
puts it
thank
all
you.
on Instagram.
Yeah, from it being sourced to how he blends it to the different ages that he's picking from to get the flavor profile that he wants.
Yeah.
It's awesome to be able to watch and be able to get that insight.
Well, and what I love too is he's quite a character.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
And he was actually on one of our episodes way back when. During
Yeah.
COVID, and I'd say that was one of the lucky things we had is we became a podcast right about the time when all these distilleries had to market, but they weren't allowed to go visit places, that you weren't allowed to go visit them. So I think we benefited from just good timing on that because we had a lot
Yeah, they were
of
trying to keep their name out there too by being able to be
we
on
had a
different
lot of
podcasts, right?
distilleries and jump on our podcast, which actually surprised the crap out of me. Like I think he was actually one of the first ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Greg
I remember that early
Taconic was
episode.
the first, I believe. And luckily, there's a dog over there that she did not see.
I don't know if she wants
Do you
in or
want me to
not.
put her inside?
Yeah,
Yeah,
do you mind?
She's like staring at the door.
Yeah, she does. She's weird like that. She'll be perfectly content, and then next thing you know, just something happens. She wants to go inside. Anyway, so we're sitting out on the patio. If you haven't heard, so what is this? Our 3rd of our seasonal deck series this year, or is this our 4th?
So
We
3rd or 4th.
Well, you weren't at one of them because you stood us up at Tyler's.
Oh, that was at Tyler's. Yeah.
And then we've done 2 or 3 here, right?
Yeah. So this
is
might be the 4th.
4th or 5th, maybe. I don't know. So, but Smoke Wagon, they're in Vegas. I think the Nevada Distilling Company is their H&C, I think it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nevada
they're getting ready
H&C.
to open their distillery for tours in Vegas too.
Oh,
Because
cool.
I was just out there in April,
Well,
and
and-
they still weren't open yet.
Their distillery, though, I think all they make is like vodka and gin, right?
Yeah,
Their bourbon, I think, is all sourced still from MGP.
yeah. I think that they were still fighting. I don't know where they are now. I just saw one of his reels, however long ago, about trying to fight with the Nevada, liquor laws to be able to start distilling their own whiskey too.
Yeah, there was something about it for sure, and I don't remember exactly how it all broke down. And unfortunately, their website really gives you no information. Like you go to their about, and it's just the two guys, Aaron and the other guy, talking.
Yeah,
Just a conversation, and it really does nothing. So it's like they could really, take advantage of the history type crap that all these bourbon places like to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
Theirs only goes back to like 2004 though, so that's probably why they haven't. Which again, still history,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, their stories, when you hear the little snippets of his stories as he's
Yeah.
going through them, they have a really cool story and why he started it. Because I think he was like a bartender in a club and all that.
and they started with vodka.
yeah,
And then I think they decided, they should probably, get into the bourbon thing because they started enjoying bourbon. But the Smoke Wagon, like the story behind the name, I don't remember exactly how they got to it, but a Smoke Wagon is a type of gun in the Wild West. So that's why they have the guns on their label, and that's what the Smoke Wagon actually is.
Haven't you heard in like westerns they say like skin that smoke wagon or something? There's like some kind of saying they would say in old western movies about a smoke wagon.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically what, but
Well,
What do we want to
speaking
start
of-
with?
I don't care.
cash that one out that you said is close to being cashed out.
Well, let's not cash it if we don't have to.
Oh,
Let's
well, I
just-
thought you were trying to cash
Well,
it.
I'm going to if it happens naturally.
I see.
But the story behind that is pretty cool. The one that's, I think, close to being cashed. So back in the day, Bourbon Enthusiast, I'm part of the private barrel club with James from Bourbon Enthusiast. And so I think the first bottle that I ever bought from him was this Smoke Wagon bottle over here. Not the one we're getting ready to try, but the one we're going to have this evening. And it got snagged by Crazy Kaz or something like that. He's on Instagram. He owns a retail store out in California. And so the laws in California are weird that, like, as soon as it hits distribution, if you're watching the wire, you can claim a barrel. And so they did that. And even though there's like this unwritten rule that you're supposed to let whoever it was meant for claim it. And so legally he took it, but unethically he took it is kind of the thing. And so there was this uprising on the internet. It became this fight between the two of them, and everyone pretty much for the most part sided with Bourbon Enthusiast. And so I guess he lost a lot of business. He ended up giving up half of the barrel back to them. And so because it was only half a barrel, they did a lottery, and I just happened to win the lottery and was able to buy it. And it was the first bottle I bought.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
That's the other one, though, correct?
Yeah, it's
this
not the one we're having.
My mistake, Jeff.
It's this one here.
It's that
Okay.
one, yes.
I believe. I'm pretty sure. Not that one. This one. Yeah, it's this one here. The one that's almost empty, I believe. I can look it up to be sure, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not that full. So, and if you can hear it in the background, which you may not be able to because these are decent little headphones, they've got a cornhole game going on next door. So,
We need an open extra mic for just ambient background noise.
I've got a mic that would do
It's
that.
just-
They have one of
It
those
picks
little
up
Yeti mics.
everything.
If we're not
those Yeti mics
outside,
pick
it's
up
only going to be
everything.
breathing. Because we all have beards or mustaches, so it's just going to be weird,
Mustache
like,
rubbing against the microphone.
Inherent just breathing noises.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a taste of this. What do you guys think of it? This one is actually, everyone got a pour?
60
This one
and a
is
half.
barrel number 6000 from Warehouse WC5, and it's 8 years old.
They have so many warehouses.
it's-
They have to
what's
have
the
like
proof on
double
it?
letters on them. I just want to point that out.
60.9 ABV. 60.9. Which
I
is
love-
also...
I love watching people do math in their heads, because that's exactly what he just did.
Yeah.
They just kind of zone out for a
Well,
second.
Tyler
And then he came
wouldn't be
and
back
he's
for
like,
another
"All right,
20
cool."
minutes.
But it's almost like a split second, like,
Tyler would have
Yeah, I
said
got
that was 30.45 proof. or 30.45
Percent.
proof. No, he would have said proof
You remember
because we
fill your own bottle.
we did the fill your own bottle at Heaven Hill. What is it? You do bourbon.
You do bourbon.
Bourbon, yeah.
And so we went there.
Oh, don't get me started.
And they
die
give you all
laughing
these
again.
explicit instructions on how you have to do it. Otherwise, they can't sell you the bottle if you do it wrong and all this stuff. Somehow Tyler ended up with his bottle because he did everything you couldn't do incorrectly.
They just didn't want to deal with them.
So, oh my God. So he puts his bottle on crooked, or his label on crooked. Plus, so then he has to pull it off. He puts it back on again, but he puts it on way too high, so it's up near the label, so it's like all bunched up at the top. Are you trying to find the picture? And then not only that, he puts the wrong information on it. He put the proof as the percentage alcohol, and he put the alcohol as the proof. So his says like 40 proof or something, or I don't know, something stupid. I don't remember what it
Did I
says.
take the picture in Kentucky?
Yeah, it was. I think we took it actually at the hotel in Bardstown that night. Because we were making fun of him and we laughed about it for like 10 minutes on the show, remember?
Well, go back and listen to that Bottle Kill episode.
Oh, we were so drunk and we were laughing at him so hard. And he was getting so frustrated and angry. And we just, every time he'd get up and go to the bathroom, we kept pouring him more. And we were, so he was so trash that night. It was pretty funny. But anyway, yeah, this one's 60.9 proof, which is what, 120, 1.8?
1.8, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, math. 121.8.
That's Sam. Don't look at me. Sam's a math guy.
Should be 121.8.
I'm off the
It is.
clock.
Proof.
121.8,
He's off the
yeah.
clock. So 121.8 proof. So not super crazy high, but pretty high. This is the highest one we're going to taste, minus maybe the... Nope, it is the highest one.
There's something on the back end of this I don't enjoy.
Ah. It's like a cherry cinnamon for me, maybe.
Oh,
I
I'm
get
getting like
cinnamon.
dark fruit on the nose.
Yeah, it's dark, but it's very like
And if it's cinnamon, that's probably
That's why I don't enjoy it
It
if it's
is.
cinnamon.
Yeah.
it's very light to start, like for the proof.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's super light to start, and then
Baking
like
spice and
afterwards
then
is when
nuts.
the
You get
the
a little
bite
hug at
hits.
the end,
baking
but
spice.
it doesn't
There's-
taste like crazy ethanol on
It
the
might be
tongue,
the
in
cinnamon
my
I'm
opinion.
getting.
No.
I'm not a cinnamon fan, full
I'm not
transparency.
getting cinnamon. I'm getting more of like
I'm
a
getting it on the
baking spice.
finish. Blah, blah, blah. What are you getting, Rudra?
I get the cinnamon, but right before you hit the cinnamon, it's almost like an orange peel.
Yeah.
Maybe
There's a
that's
little
what
bit
it
of
is,
like
not
a-
cherry.
like a-
Maybe
like a-
it's
I don't want
orange.
to say tart, but there's like an orange.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a
And
citrusy.
And then all of a sudden there's spice.
Yeah, there's
that
a
might be what I'm
bitterness.
getting, not cherry. I think that's probably what
like
it
an
is.
orange bitters almost,
Yeah.
as opposed
I
to
was
like,
gonna say like
orange.
that old
I like that.
old fashioned
Yeah.
flavor.
That's
Yeah.
a good,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that. That's good. You guys led me there. I got cinnamon. So fuck you guys.
If you take my hand, I will lead you.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. You always do a pretty good job. I know this fucker here somehow. He's always like, oh, I get, and he gets these nice highbrow wine flavors, and I'm like, what the hell? How do you
Well-
get? And then I'm like, oh yeah, there it is.
You also have to keep in mind, I
Yeah, orange
learned
bitters for
tasting
sure.
from my sommelier friend with wine years ago.
Yeah.
So like that is
If you listen to the last episode I was on, Sam brought this up a lot that he has sommelier friends. It's not a wine podcast, so it doesn't matter here. It doesn't count.
okay.
Forgot to reference the friend in the industry.
Right? No, I
That we
remember
are
that.
some-
I
Yeah.
listed tangential people,
And we even brought it
of
up-
which you are
You
a
did say
direct
tangential.
intersection of that.
No, I do
I
remember.
don't know.
I thought it was
bunch of the
a.
big words you just used. So
I thought it was a total backhand. To be honest, it was like a very passive backhand. Like, listen, I got this guy beside me who knows all about this stuff, but I'm going to mention these other
And
guys.
he also knows what the word tangential means.
I mean, I think we all know what it means. It's just that.
hand up.
So the best part was.
Tangential is when something like touches it once. So it's not like directly related. It's something that's like close to it and just like brushes past
You know, like
against it.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? Think
Yeah.
of like 1 degree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would be tangential.
Okay.
Well,
So it's like how you started this podcast with Tyler. He touched your dick one time.
Yeah. So they are tangentially related.
I mean, I don't know.
I was
though,
waiting
about
for
that
someone
one.
to incorporate
Because
that.
1 degree would mean that you're like best friends with this guy almost, right?
Well, in math, it's touching.
Right. So like
I'm not touching my acquaintances.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, you are, just not in the way that we think you mean.
but he's not calling them tangential.
Right. I guess I just for me, I would think of 1 degree of separation being more inside the Venn diagram as opposed
that's
to
fair. That's fair.
on the outskirts.
1 degree is they were in the same movie together.
Yeah, yeah.
2 degrees is like they would cross paths at a
right.
party.
They were in a
possibly.
movie that someone else was in with them.
Yes.
So that type of thing.
So if I
This
think
podcast.
about tangential, it's like you meet somebody
First you think
for
you've
one
gotta
time,
learn how to pronounce
like one
it.
time. Yeah, I don't care, dude. You meet somebody
Don't
one
Tyler
time
this.
and
Don't
they
Tyler
say
this.
something that like may have meant something to you, right? First time you meet somebody, they say something that means something to you, and you're like, oh, that was
I could see that.
insightful. Or
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
It's something that, like, yeah, and
that
then like,
touched you enough, not in dude's terms, but
Right.
yeah,
No,
that made an impact
There's
for
a
you to
theme
remember
here.
that.
touching
There's a
dude.
theme. Yeah.
So does anyone else have to sit on sales calls?
Yes.
Me?
Sometimes.
No.
What do you
So
mean?
like
I do.
salespeople, like they love to say touch. Like, oh yeah, and how they've touched, oh yeah, we've touched all of these people over here, and I'm just every time I just have to, okay, be mature. Like it's just one of those things that I always hear on sales calls that I just have to it's kind of
And
like
which salesperson in this conversation? Like what?
there's always it'll be
what
salespeople.
positional salesperson are you talking about?
I mean, any of them, VPs or
Okay.
inside
I'm a VP and I've never used the word touch. Yeah, we
That
touch
was-
people.
That was a flex.
They're giving titles to everybody
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they just hand out that
Yeah.
VP title, huh? Yeah, jeez.
Well, I never say, yeah, we touch this market and we touch this market. Like, no, this is what we do.
Is
I've
your
never heard
background in
that.
sales though?
Yeah.
That's really interesting because I feel like every salesperson I've ever met, no matter what industry, it's like a carbon copy. They've just taken the
Yes.
same sales tactics and just copy and pasted.
But I didn't come from a traditional sales
He's in
portfolio,
collections,
right? Well,
which I might need you to reach out to my contractor here.
we
Somebody
don't just
owes
do
them
that
for
anymore.
VHSs.
We don't just do that anymore. We do
I
a
know.
whole revenue cycle management. But anyway, it's not. I didn't come up in a traditional sales setting. It was like
And that's probably why.
Yeah, I started from basically the bottom and then worked my way into a executive sales
VP.
position.
I
You
feel
can
like
say
there's
it. You
a
said it
song
already.
about that.
Yeah. Just keep saying it.
So that's probably why I haven't been through like traditional sales
Training.
So
Yeah.
what's your position now?
Virtual penetrator, I think you said earlier.
Oh,
Let's talk about
okay.
something
Yeah.
else.
That's what VP,
RVP.
is, right?
Yeah, I
Virtual
think so.
penetrator.
I think
Okay.
so.
Yep.
No, it's
Because
RVP.
they're always touching people, so
Yeah.
I mean they've
Yeah.
got to
And
penetrate
they
them at some
all
point.
went remote during COVID, and
Right.
so it
So
became
that's the virtual.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And all the touching leads to penetration, so
There
it's
you go.
gonna happen.
All right.
I mean, market penetration happens, right?
That's right.
You get a lot of penetration there in the market.
Yeah. We try to penetrate all different types of market.
Yeah, see?
Geographical markets.
Who's ready for the second bottle? You guys are still sipping on this
I
one?
mean, I
Yeah.
can. This is the least we've talked about bourbon on any episode that I have ever been on.
Well, I mean, that's a good and a bad thing.
Do you like it or no?
That's fine. Usually, I have to like come prepared or like look up stuff on my
He's got
phone.
notes. Okay, we're
Yeah.
covering this today. So, full transparency, you guys all know I've been through shit the last 6 months. So I have not put in my normal effort into episodes at all. My latest shit is that my contractor has ghosted me for 3 weeks now. And the amount of money he's been paid compared to what he's actually delivered doesn't equal each other. And he's gone. I, honest to God, though, I think he may be dead. I'm being dead serious. I think he
Dead
could have.
serious.
I'm being absolutely dead serious. I think he might be dead. He came highly recommended from 2 different friends who he completed their jobs for. All the stuff he's done for us has been good. He's also been very, just stupid little things. Like, I'll come back from the gym, and he's like, hey, just want to let you know I made a coffee with your Keurig. I'm, okay, I don't care.
Just quirky.
First day, I've
Deduct
told him
it.
you guys can have water. You can have deduct it. This is your bill of all the Keurig. You're gonna have to. So there's my credit. But no, but he's just been super straightforward with me about stuff and seemingly very honest, unless that's the con. But why me?
But he comes recommended, which makes it weird.
That's exactly.
Especially 2 people are like, no, he's great.
And I passed on 2 or 3 other contractors because I didn't have recommendations. They were just people that we found on the internet. and I had nothing. And so I felt bad. When they all say, "Hey, I want 20% down to start the project, and then you can pay me at these different points." I feel weird doing that with someone I don't know.
Well, yeah.
With someone who comes highly recommended, I'm fine giving you a down payment. That doesn't bother me. And the original deal was like you pay a third up front, you pay 2/3 at about the 2/3 mark, and then you would pay the rest at the after completion.
Yeah.
Before he went on vacation, he was like, "Hey, I know we're not quite to that 2/3 mark, but since I'm going on vacation, I want to make sure my helper, has some pay while I'm on vacation. Do you mind paying it a little bit early?" And I'm like, "Sure, whatever, that's fine." And based on everything he'd done up to that point, I was like, "Okay." So I paid him that, and so he was maybe at the halfway point, maybe, and I paid him to the 2/3 point. And a few of the reason I say maybe to the halfway point is financially, line item wise, he's about exactly at the halfway point. However, some of those line items are incomplete, like putting the crown molding back up, the access panel on below my water pipe. Little things like that. Some rooms are not 100% painted because like the second coat of paint hasn't been put in my bourbon sitting room. The stairwell between the first floor and the bourbon sitting room hasn't been done because there was hardwood flooring sitting on the landing, so he couldn't really get to it. Understood all that, He was going to come back to it. But the big things that are left are the flooring in the first floor. Hasn't been ripped up or put in. And the casings around the doors, which have to be lowered because it's shorter flooring, has not been done yet either, obviously, because the old flooring's still there. So, it's currently the correct length. So he couldn't do anything. So, but then there's a whole bunch of little things just left undone, like that doorway in between the two rooms in the basement, just completely unfinished. Stupid stuff like that. I don't have my lights in my bourbon sitting room yet.
Do you have his worker's number?
I have his phone
idea.
number, and I have his name.
Have you tried
That's all I
threatening
have.
violence?
I have not gotten there yet because I'm honest to God. So there's two things. His mother is dying of cancer, and he smokes. He's maybe my age or a little older. It's hard to tell because when people don't work out, sometimes they kind of look older than maybe they really are, or sometimes they just
Another
whatever.
flex.
No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying that the other thing too is I see someone that's a couple years younger than me, and just because of my mental state, I'll think they're older than me anyway. Because I'm a fucking child.
Just get some
you know?
Just for Men, and you'll look like you're 30 now.
You know what I'm saying though, right? Like
We
Yes,
are all
I do.
latching on to the wrong part of this conversation.
and I don't care. That's fine. But you know how it is. Like when you see people who stop changing their hairstyle at a certain point in their life, and then they leave it that way the rest of their lives, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes your mind stops aging at that point too, and like it's like Matthew McConaughey in what was the movie where he's like, I keep getting older, but they keep staying the same
Dazed
age.
and
or something.
Confused.
Yeah, Dazed and
Yeah.
Confused, right? So like, which I heard
All
they
right,
were
all
just
right, all right.
they were just plastered that entire movie.
I mean,
That whole
fair,
cast,
given-
that whole cast, plastered and high, the whole movie, which makes sense. The only guy that wasn't was I can't remember his name. He was the younger kid in the movie, but he was in rehab basically, so he was like trying to not drink anymore, so he stayed sober the whole time.
So,
This
quick
orange
aside,
bitters,
I was gonna say,
huge
Schnoz,
orange
what are you
bitters,
getting?
orange bitters
Yeah.
all over the place.
Since we're
So
back
second
to
bottle.
movies,
Hold on, second bottle. Let me introduce this, and you go to say what you were going to say. This is bottle 50 or barrel 5598, 56.5 ABV. So math,
I didn't hear.
I
the
didn't hear.
number.
Sorry.
56.5.
Off the clock.
So that would be
113.
113. Yeah. And also it's Warehouse WG3.
You saw those wheels turning. Didn't
I
you?
did.
So you were going to say.
Okay, so from before we pushed record, the foreshadowing in a movie is called a Chekhov's gun. It's where nothing is wasted, so if they show an item,
So,
it will be used sometime
I will
later in
allow
the movie
this
or
because
device.
you had said Occam's razor, which
is
similar to
Yeah.
Chekhov's gun or whatever you called it.
Chekhov's
callback.
gun. Yeah.
So
it
or
is-
callback, which is the American version. Apparently, he's a Russian operative,
No,
so that's fine.
a callback is more like
Or
if you tell a
Yeah,
joke
Ukrainian
and then you
operative. Sorry.
Yeah, like
loop
the
something
payoff.
back in later.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so this is like introducing
Or
something.
a callback.
Sure. It's that nothing is wasted. So you're introducing
Yeah.
something or some type of object that will then be referenced or come into play later on.
Yeah.
Why don't they call it an Edgar Allan Poeism?
I don't know, because Chekhov already showed the gun, apparently.
Was nothing wasted with Edgar?
Well, Edgar Allan Poe believed that you didn't write about anything in your story if it didn't pertain to the story.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't tell someone how their hair
I
looked
texted,
if their hair was not important to the story.
3 friends and trying to Google it for the last 20 minutes, trying to figure out what that
That's
damn
what you've
word
been
was.
doing on
Yes.
your phone and
Yes.
smiling.
I
thought you were like texting everyone in this group but me about my stupid ass
No,
story.
my sister-in-law is a screenwriter in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I've been
That's cool.
texting her of like, what the hell is this thing called?
Take a whiff.
The schnoz. We're getting a people schnoz picture. All right.
My nose is burning out
Hey,
there.
you tagged me on a people schnoz
I
picture the
did,
other day.
I
was
did.
so excited. I was like,
Oh
he's-
yeah, send me that. I'll put it on the schnoz
put it on
page.
the schnoz.
I'll back to
2
it.
posts in a whole
right.
year.
I
Wow.
know, right? I know. Things are turning around for the people schnoz.
It's his first post, I think.
It's for a long
In-
time.
in
it
at
has
least a
been.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's
gonna
nose
get back
this. What do
into
you
it.
guys think? I know you've already taken a drink.
Yeah, I got orange bitters on the nose big time. I don't know if that came from discussion.
No, it's absolutely
Okay.
there.
I will say
on
the
the nose.
Yeah.
the note
The nose
of
is
the
all
like
orange bitters.
yeah, like calling out the orange bitters,
getting
like,
like a
specifically
honeysuckle.
an old fashioned. Like it tastes like an old fashioned that just
You forgot to put
Bourbon
the
heavy?
sweetener in.
yeah.
Bourbon
yeah.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one way better than
I
the
get
previous
that.
one.
I get everything you're saying. I get like a honeysuckle.
That's what I just
That's
said.
what he just
He
said.
did just say that.
Oh, I did not. No, you didn't.
He
Yeah,
literally
he
just
did.
said that.
I swear.
Yeah.
Chekhov's honeysuckle.
No, he said it on the nose. He didn't say on
I
the
said
palate.
on the nose, I'm getting honeysuckle.
There's
I
a
get
heavy
it.
sweetness to it.
Yeah, but it's like you said, it's almost like an old fashioned that doesn't have like the simple or not enough simple syrup. Maybe not
This
that it
one's
doesn't
a lot
have
more
any.
viscous too.
Yeah,
I'm
I would.
getting that full
I
coat.
really like this one.
Yeah,
I do too.
What do you do too?
Yeah, I like this better than the previous.
It's a more concentrated version
Yeah.
Agree.
and less spice.
I enjoy
Yeah.
the cinnamon on the previous one, but I think you're right on the viscosity and apparently on the honeysuckle that I didn't hear you say. There's something there, and it may not be honeysuckle, but there is something there that gives me some sweetness that balances out all that other stuff you're talking about. That the visceral reaction to this one is higher for me. The ethanol,
Yeah.
I think. Whereas the last one, I didn't get much ethanol
Sounds
until
less ethanol, though,
until the
like-
hug.
Yeah.
But on the tongue, I get more ethanol.
I'm getting it. I'm getting the
Like
ethanol
my-
all over my
Yeah,
mouth.
exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas the last one, which was a higher proof, I didn't get it till the hug. It was a nice
Mm-hmm.
hug. I'm not getting the hug on this one, but my mouth
Yeah.
is like, whew,
That honeysuckle is definitely there. The more you sip on it, that floral
Okay,
note comes out.
good.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about differentiating for me the honeysuckle and vanilla because I think they're very similar.
Yeah.
But with the honeysuckle,
It's the floral, I
it's-
think, side of it.
But to me, it's also the viscosity it's more like velvety, and that's what makes me get more honeysuckle than like a vanilla taste.
To me, I think honeysuckle, like you said, on the floral side of things. But you're right, though. I do get like a vanilla-y. And that it would make sense that a lot of bourbons I taste have that honeysuckle if it's a similar like kind of taste as a vanilla.
Did
Yeah.
you pick honeysuckle as a kid
And you
and like
Oh,
eat it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I've
I used to
never
do that.
done that once in my life.
Seriously?
No.
No.
We used to do that all the time.
In the
You'd
spring
pull,
when
like
they
the,
bloom, pull the flower out,
Yeah.
and then the very tip, if you bite it, it's very sweet.
You can even like pull it through. and
I
it
would
like,
do that, but I don't know that I know what a honeysuckle is or looks like.
Yeah,
It's like a little firecracker
Yeah.
looking thing.
Yeah,
It's an invasive vine.
It is. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we used to pluck them all the time and like.
We'd have them I'd have them at my house now, but growing up, our whole like the back line of our property butted up to like a cornfield, soy,
Yeah.
whatever they did. So like separated it so it like grew all along the fence line.
Yeah.
So we'd always
We
eat
were
it.
always eating honeysuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that. My backyard butted up to US 50, but in between US 50 and my backyard, there was like probably 100-yard or 100-foot like buffer, and it was a swamp. And so in that swamp, there were a couple of like little mini islands. Like I'm talking like maybe the size of like this little patio. And
Okay.
there were vines growing up, and you would crawl under the vines and pick blackberries and stuff, and we
Oh,
would
that's
go.
cool.
Yeah, it was cool as shit.
Oh yeah.
Now, had I known what I know now, there's no fucking way you would have ever caught me because there were copperheads
shit.
all over that area.
Yeah.
So later on,
Cucumbers. Smoked cucumbers.
that's what
Copperheads.
copperheads smell like.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Smoked cucumbers. When you see a snake, it's a copperhead.
Really.
Yeah.
So
I don't ever want to be close enough that that's an issue.
well, and they are a poisonous snake, but copperheads are big in where I grew up, and I did not know that as a kid. We just fucking ran around. We had no idea. Now, unless we went into one of their nests and they were trying to protect themselves, I think they're generally scared of us more
They
than
usually
we're
don't fuck with you unless you fuck with them.
That's what I mean. But like, if you get near their nest and we're down there crawling
Right.
around on it, you might just happen to be on one of their nests or around one of their nests. But so when I was growing up, there were two big things that happened. the Athens was like 40 miles or 40 minutes away. It wasn't 40 miles, but 40 minutes away. And they were doing a study on a species of toad that was actually about to be what they thought extinct. It was called the spadefoot toad. And we were
Spadefoot.
we were one of only like 2 or 3 places in the world that they were known to exist. And that swamp in our backyard was one of those places. And so they were coming in because the city and the county wanted to fill in that swamp. So they were coming in trying to figure out if they could take some out and repopulate other places with them, but they wouldn't take anywhere. Every time we had crazy rain days, they'd be out jumping around on our driveway and stuff. What are
Of
you
course,
gonna
they
say?
wouldn't take their spade.
Okay. I don't know the reference, I guess. Spade.
Like you spade the dog.
Oh, spade, you fucking douchebag.
Jesus.
Spade, as in S-P-A-D-E, the shape. So anyway, spadefoot toad. So they were in a huge study, and then finally they discovered that they existed somewhere else. It was like Oklahoma or something like that. As soon as they figured that out, they fucking covered up the swamp in our backyard with dirt. Like, they filled it up.
They're like, fuck them toads.
Yeah. So, like, they just piled all this dirt on the edge of the swamp and then took these
Graders.
bulldozers and pushed them, whatever the ones that have the flat front, and pushed them out into the swamp and just kept pushing more and more over. And so as it was happening, we were sitting out on because it was like right in our backyard. We were sitting out there just watching, and you could see the snakes going up the side of the freaking, over the highway.
Jesus.
Well, it got even better. So, like, the highway is a pretty big highway. It's US 50. It's one of the original highways in the country. And we drive that highway ourselves to get other places, and you could see probably like 100 copperheads just dead on the highway that got run over during that time. So not only did they kill all the freaking spadefoot toads that were possibly living there, because they aren't found in our area now, not in that backyard. They were literally in our backyard was the place that they found them. Like, it was literally our backyard in that swamp. It wasn't like the area of my hometown. It was my backyard.
Probably why the copperheads were posted up there. They were eating all the.
Maybe. But so not only did they kill all those spadefoot toads, they killed
The neutered foot toads.
however many copperheads that got run over that day, going up the hill, escaping, and going over the highway and getting run over by cars. I mean, there were tons of them. It was a crazy amount of copperheads just dead on the highway.
Good riddance.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're an endangered species or not. They probably aren't, but
don't think
still,
so.
it's just
Hopefully.
crazy that. Could you
Hopefully.
imagine that? Could you imagine that nowadays?
Yeah.
The outcry that would have gotten, even if they're not endangered.
Like,
you
that's
know?
just a lot of.
unnecessary death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
God, a copperhead
this-
almost killed my buddy at
The
Lake
swamps-
Cumberland.
I don't think copperheads are that poisonous.
They're pretty poisonous.
I know they're like for youth, for like people under like 15, they'll kill them potentially, but most adults aren't going to die from a copperhead.
You're just going to lose an arm.
Well,
Well, you could. I mean, you might have some necrosis and stuff like that, but it shouldn't kill you.
I have a picture of him like holding it around his neck because they killed it in the hospital bed because he was so jacked up from it. It bit him in the ankle. They were going up this, like when Lake Cumberland was really low in the water, when you get a houseboat, you had to climb the hill and spike in the tow line to be able to dock where we would go down to like the whatever Party Cove and stuff. And he was running up, and when he was coming back down the hill, it bit him. I think it bit him like more than one time. It was like 2 or 3 times.
That.
And they found
So
it.
he wasn't really running down the hill.
Right.
If it bit him 3 times, I mean, shit.
And they called the whoever to come and get him, and they came out and got him. And they're like, we need to find the snake so we know what antivitamin to give him.
Oh.
So they're like searching around for it and killed it and brought it to the hospital. Yeah, what are you doing to your lights, dude?
No, I don't know. One of them was really dim. The rest of them were really bright. I was just wondering.
Tyler's not
Sounds
here.
like our group.
Yeah,
I'll say that was the original name for this podcast.
one of them is really dim.
Rest of them are bright.
Figure it out. It would have taken one episode. It would have taken one episode. So that was the story of my spadefoot toads and copperheads and blackberry picking days when I didn't know. You know, when you're ignorant to stuff and the luck you have of not dying.
Life's better.
Ignorance is bliss, man. That's why the saying exists.
But not dying when you're ignorant to potentially getting killed by there's no way in hell. If I at my age, knowing what I know now, I would have never done that. I would have been too scared to.
Knowledge is dangerous.
Right. I don't.
True story.
Whatever. Sure. But I'm going to agree. All right. Here's the next one. This is 5615 is the barrel number.
I don't know if that was the
proof.
No.
Yeah, the proof.
But it's not too far
The
off from
ABV.
that. It's 56.9?
56.9.
So
Niner.
What do you call him, from a walkie-talkie? It was a cordless. Anyone know that movie?
Nope.
Tommy Boy, what the
Yeah.
what is
Oh,
wrong
okay.
with you guys?
It's been a minute since I've seen Tommy
Yeah,
Boy.
I've seen it multiple times. I can
I
quote
said
Borat.
Niner,
Yeah.
and I said, what do you call him, from a walkie-talkie? He said, no, it was a cordless.
I grew up cult Christian. There's an entire swath of movies that I was just never allowed to see.
And you never saw Tommy Boy?
I've seen Tommy Boy, but not enough to
Karma.
have that.
I
off
bet
the top
I've
of
seen
my head.
Tommy Boy
Karma.
over 100 times.
Exactly, and I've seen
Is this
it
one Karma?
maybe twice.
I don't know what Karma. What are you talking about?
Is this one Karma?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Man, these all have the exact same nose.
They really do.
As you guys start talking about these, and
What?
I'm going to look up the Karma.
Here, you want some more?
No, I'm good.
Just trying to pawn your
I'll-
heavy.
I'll be
Or
honest, man. So full transparency here.
Hey,
The only
Bourbon Enthusiast was supposed to do I thought last week was supposed to do an Old
Smoke.
Forester.
I
And
thought
they
they
never
were just
did.
announcing that they were.
No, but I
going
thought he
to
said
do
it was coming this
This
week.
is how dude finds out he got blocked on Instagram.
No.
didn't
I'm
see
one
it,
of his
kid.
I'm one of his biggest
I'm his fan.
contributors. So he knows better.
I don't love the Smoke
I can't
Wagons.
search anymore.
The uncut, unfiltered, I really enjoy, but these private barrel ones, I don't.
The last one you seem to like.
I liked it, but it's also they're not something that I'm like.
Didn't stand out to you.
Yeah, when I go down into your bourbon room, I'm
When
not
you-
like,
when you go
"Ooh,
down-
where's the Smoke Wagon? You know what I mean? It's just not.
For a
Oh, that's
while,
me.
I will say, when I first got
But the uncut, unfiltered, I really do enjoy those.
Oh my god, this is fucking awesome.
Did you get
Is
a
it?
Did you get a backbone from Mash and Journey?
I did.
Did
It's
it come
fucking
yet?
fantastic, yeah.
You didn't fucking bring it.
You didn't tell me, like.
You said when you get it, you were going to bring it to the next
Well,
episode.
I didn't know because Jason just had it on the episode, and we drank it on that. So I don't know if you wanted to do it again like that soon.
I don't give a shit. I wasn't able to order it because, again, it happened when I was not available to buy bourbon.
Yeah.
Who were you in Toronto again?
No, but I swear he keeps releasing them at times, and then it's a half hour later than what he said. So I'll clear out that time on my calendar, and then when it actually releases, I'll have something else happening.
Yeah.
So I need to just figure out. But if I do that he'll release it on time. If I figure that out. There used to be a search function in the Patreon app, and I'm not seeing it right now. So I'll have to look later.
Rudra, do you guys have anything coming out soon that's exclusive, that you're allowed to talk about, not proprietary information?
Not even in terms of secrets. All we're doing is building out the new location.
That's
the
fair.
only
Where
thing
are you
we'll-
at in that, by the way?
$1 million question. I gotta ask 6 people,
'Cause
get 6 answers.
Well, originally you were planning on being ready by June, right? Well,
March,
I'm
June,
just
August,
saying that.
September.
When
A
I
month.
when I talked to you
Just a
in
month.
March,
You are
thought
perpetually
June
2
was
months away.
And that's what it is. We're 90 days out.
Okay.
And it's not that. Here's the hard part, right? When you're building something that big of that
That's
scale,
massive.
yeah.
So many things can just add to the time.
you have that many more permits, which means you're relying on someone else to sign off
Sure.
before you can
From
do
the government.
correct before you can do the next thing. So it's
And
not
you
like
have a million contractors doing a million different things.
correct. You got
Hey,
your
I know about
welders and
contractors.
plumbers and electricians.
Is my contractor at your
He
site?
might be it.
You found a better job.
Yeah, and it's right now, all the time. They're going.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Is it at the same? No, it's at a different
No,
site.
it's over on Alum Creek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, what part of Alum Creek?
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I've seen
Right
the
when you
The
get on-
renderings are amazing.
I always tell people, is a landmark right across the street. Most people don't want to admit that they know it, but when you're on 70, there's a Lion's Den.
Yeah.
We're across the street.
Yeah, it's right by that.
They're right across from the
Shell-
U-Haul storage facility.
U-Haul,
Yeah.
next door to White Castle.
The
but
Allen
Lions-
Creek
What,
exit
you're-
off of 70. There's a U-Haul
It's
storage
the
facility
second
that used to
Mexican
be
really close to Capitol.
It used to be a
Correct.
Sun TV.
Yeah, very close to Capitol.
Now it's a U-Haul storage facility, and it's right across the street.
I can get bourbon and porn in one stop. Like
And White Castle.
Did you say one stop?
One
one
thop.
stop.
One thought.
Here's the best part.
That's what you
I
heard,
heard a
right?
thought.
Okay.
Stop.
If you need tooling, there's a Fastenal right next to the U-Haul. You can do
That's
Fastenal-
everything.
Wait,
Yeah.
I can't-
Fastenal?
Fastenal.
Fastenal.
It's a Fastenal.
All.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
know, it
spelled
is
Fastenal.
EL. It is
It's
spelled
spelled
EL.
Fastenal, but it's spelled AL, I believe.
It is
I thought it was-
AL.
Oh,
But it's
It is AL.
Fastenal.
I guess I thought it was spelled EL for some reason.
No.
Fasten all. Like they're fastening
All
All the things.
the things.
All the things are getting fastened.
I'm just thinking about White Castle now.
But I didn't realize there was that much.
Who thinks about
like,
White Castle?
area.
I like
It's
White Castle.
Oberfield's.
It tastes like
Okay.
It used to be
wet
Oberfield's.
socks.
Okay.
It's 15
You
acres.
get too many onions is
Okay.
why.
Right.
You gotta do no
Yeah,
onions
that's
or light
awesome.
onion.
You can do that?
What's
Yeah.
wrong with the onions?
There's too many.
It just tastes like wet socks when they put their normal amount on there.
I think
I need
I think it's
fewer
great.
onions.
What is wrong with these two?
I think
Like
it's great.
onions.
Listen,
the
my
onions
wife
add
hates
to the cooked experience.
My
Well,
wife
I
hates
might go-
onions, so when I eat onions, I don't get touched.
Yeah, but White Castle.
Right? I know. I'm like,
That's when there's
Hey,
times
yeah,
that
but-
you won't
yeah,
see
but
your wife when we
sex.
go on the bourbon trail.
No.
White
Then,
Castle?
then you're doing it wrong.
I might be doing it wrong.
Just saying.
I might be the one doing it wrong.
See, the way we do it is we take off our clothes and we push our stuff together. That's how we do it.
no, I like to unwrap the cheeseburger. And then,
You're talking about White Castle. I'm talking about sex.
I might
No,
get
he's
White
talking
Castle on the way
about
home now.
right? I know.
I didn't
What is
eat-
the closest White Castle to here? There's a lot fewer than there used to be.
I know. And Columbus is the
There's-
headquarters for White
Which is
Castle.
crazy.
Well, you know
There's
what's
one
funny?
in my hometown on my way home, so I'll just stop there.
White
was-
Castle, we did a study on them when I was in college about the way to basically expand a business. And there was the McDonald's way where you lend to expand. So they would just expand even though they didn't have the money. White Castle didn't do that. Their model was they only expanded when they had the money. They didn't lend at all to expand. They would build up enough money. They had the extra money. They would expand. Build up enough money. And that's how they did it. So they were much slower.
When I lived out west, there was a number of people that I met that thought White Castle was made up for the Harold and Kumar movie, and that was
Yeah.
it.
They thought it was made up.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
because
a made
they,
up
Funny.
fast food
it's not.
franchise.
Yeah, it's
I will
not
say,
that far back.
I think the last time I've had White Castle was after watching that movie with Trina. We both went and we were like, let's go get some White Castle.
After that, you're like, so yeah, like legitimately, a lot of the friends that I met out there
That's too
had
funny.
no idea that it was a real entity.
And back to your previous comment, when we saw the movie, we saw it in the theater, we went to go get White Castle, we couldn't find it. Like, we were like, there's no White Castle anywhere near here.
You know what I'm going to do is for the bourbon trip this year, I'm going to find a White Castle.
Like in Bardstown or something?
Yeah.
I'll eat it then.
Case race.
Check off White
Oh.
Castle.
Where?
Instead of
Case race.
the case race after the bottle kill.
What's case race?
You get a crave case.
Crazy.
so you
It's
can
like
eat it
30 of a
fast.
minute, I think.
Oh, I'll fucking destroy you guys.
You will eat 30.
I'll eat
Bro,
30.
it's nothing.
It's like
I
eating
cannot
like
eat
three.
30.
It's like eating
Oh,
three
yeah.
burgers.
Yeah, but I'll be shitting next day so bad.
I cannot eat 30.
I will.
No.
Hey,
I'll go there and get 4 and like they're
if I don't
their
eat anything
clam
else,
strips
I'll.
are-
You get
Obviously.
seafood at White Castle?
You've never had their clam strips?
No.
I haven't either.
You know they
We're
source
next-
them from somewhere.
Yeah, they're frozen.
Well, what do you
But
think?
still.
That they have a clam farm in White Castle? Of course, they source
They
them
had
out
from
of
a-
somewhere.
I just want you to know they had a big sign.
What kind of statement was
out
that?
front, and
They
it said-
source them from somewhere.
Somewhere.
It said
Yeah.
shrimp nibblers are here,
Shrimp nibblers.
and it was outside. It was
That's what
right
I call
outside-
Trina, the shrimp nibbler.
When you're
Hey.
over, when you're over, that's accurate.
Hey, but somehow he's still doing it wrong.
50. That was okay. So 55.98. It was the second one we had was Karma.
I thought
Okay.
I thought my pour was big.
Yeah, but
I haven't touched mine.
He doesn't have to drive.
Here's his commute. He's going to take 2 steps up and be inside his
No,
house.
are they going to be steps or stumbles?
Yeah.
He will fall in that general
Yeah,
direction.
he has to go
and
towards
be
the
home.
house, and he's fine.
Well,
Let's nose this one.
they might be stumbles if you pick the right glass.
Oh, so now that we're almost done, but you're starting your glass, it's
Let's-
time to nose it.
Yeah, because no one's nosed it yet.
I have.
We all have. We just
I-
haven't talked
this is-
about it.
This is my favorite one so far.
It's like a tartness, but it's not orange. Almost like a peach.
I did not.
It's like
I
a
did not
peach
get
or
orange on this
nectarine.
one either. Yeah.
Oh, peach is a good note.
I would say nectarine because it's a little bit more sour. You're not getting like the sweetness.
I guess I don't eat either one of them to tell
I eat
you the
them a lot.
difference. Okay, that's probably why I don't.
Yeah, nectarine's going to be a little bit more like tart.
Yeah.
So I
Like-
get more of a bitter on the nose.
I don't get the bitter.
I don't
get
get
a
the
bitter.
bitter either. I get that like stone fruit.
I can get the stone fruit, but like it's a bitter, like almost like a fermented stone fruit.
I don't get any of that.
No.
I don't get that either.
All right, well, I'm out.
You're out.
The wine has failed Sam.
You have been voted off the island.
That's fair.
But yeah, this is by far my favorite of the ones we've had.
It's not as viscous, but
the flavor though.
it drinks so much smoother, and the flavor just like blows up on your tongue.
The flavor's really good. I still think that second one was still my favorite.
That was Karma.
Yep.
I like the second a little better just because the viscosity is why.
Yeah.
Just I'm very big on like texture, and so I do like that viscosity.
You like
That's why
texture in
whenever
your
we were
mouth.
hanging out together, he
Do what?
tells me
You like
not to
texture in
shave
your
down there.
mouth?
I do like
Hanging
texture in my
He
mouth.
wants the texture.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
in and around my mouth, just
Yeah.
all over my tongue.
Yeah.
Super
Right.
viscous. The viscous, the better.
So
That was my favorite thing about our
Speaking-
picks from
speaking
Middle
of
West.
I told you.
whew, last drink I just had on that which was the second drink. Whew, nice.
This
That
one's my
really
favorite
that
one so
really
far.
evolved.
Yeah.
That was good. That just like you said, an explosion of flavor.
You
I
are
like-
used to explosions in your mouth.
Well,
Of flavor.
I mean, it is Tuesday.
It is a flavor.
No, that's good. I don't know what it all is yet, but it's good.
All right, aside, I appreciate that you call that as you don't know what it is yet. Like sometimes the tasting, like you need to unpack it and look for different things at different layers. So good on you.
And sometimes you don't find it and you're like, that's good. I'll
Yeah.
drink more of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the best when you're like you can't pinpoint something. You're like I like this, but I don't know why I like this. You know what I mean? Like I can't
I don't know
pinpoint
if
this
it's
flavor.
as I'm nosing it and drinking it, but I'm getting that nectar on the flavor palette too.
I missed nectar. Nectar.
Nectarine.
Nectar.
Nectar.
I missed nectar.
More
while I
fruit
was
is evolving
texting with
for
James
me.
from Bourbon Enthusiast to see if which one was Karma. I was
Another
like, I'll just
flex.
ask the source, and he
Yeah, sorry,
he
not
answered.
nectar. Nectar.
Yeah, so I know the
Nectarine.
guy. So
That was a flex. That was a flex. Not what I said earlier, but that was a flex. You're right.
All of the
Yes, I did. You might have heard it hit the ground. I unzipped.
You're welcome.
So, anywho, I was winning without
So, what
realizing
other
it.
flavors are you getting on this? Because I
I get the bitter on the palate.
that might
I
be
get
so.
it on the front end for sure.
I've been like through my glass a lot more than like an initial nose, so that might be just remnants of on the palate that I get it from it. But I
Yeah,
definitely
but
like
it's definitely there. A bitter, like almost pith dryness.
Yeah.
Back.
I've had the orange bitter on all of them, to be honest with you.
that has been a consistent, but like this
Some are
almost
more
tastes like a
pronounced.
fermented style.
Yeah.
Like
When I think it's good to know that they are MGP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's whiskey from the same place, you're going to get variety between barrels, but you're not going to get stark contrast.
Sure.
Right, you're going to
And I
get
thi-
similarities.
Yeah,
a
and I
lot
think
of
that's-
similarities.
And are these blended or single barrels? I didn't catch that.
These are single
Yeah,
barrels
these
that
are
we've
single
had,
barrels.
Okay.
Oh, that's what I'm getting on the back end now. Tobacco.
but they.
I don't know
That's
why.
it's like it is like a cigar remnant.
Yeah.
I believe the uncut unfiltered is a blend, and I believe their traditional.
I assume their
shelfer
traditional
is
is a blend. Yeah, that makes the most sense, obviously.
But yes, these are all
Should've
single.
brought a
These are all
cigar.
single barrels.
Should have brought what?
I didn't know we were going to be outside. I would have brought a cigar.
Oh,
I can't
Well.
do cigars anymore.
Yeah, Sam and I gave that
yeah.
up.
I don't. If
Gave
I
it up?
smoke a cigar, I feel
Yeah,
like
together?
I feel like death the
Pretty
next
much
morning.
almost at the same time. Yeah.
You feel like death?
I feel like death, dude. I don't
You gotta
know.
Drink more water.
Maybe
See-
I don't know what it is.
Right now, you do.
No. If I smoke a cigar,
Oh,
I feel like death. Like the next
I've
day.
heard water. Are you inhaling it? Because you're not supposed to inhale cigars.
I don't feel like I am. I feel like I'm just like.
You're not. You're supposed
mean-
to taste it. You're not supposed to inhale it.
I love inhaling cigars.
Oh my god!
I love it.
You are
Not the
you are
Basically,
so,
I love
the
lung
full
cancer.
drag.
You are
lung
so. It's not even the
right
now.
cancer.
you-
You're just
no,
legitimately
there's
not
been-
supposed to swallow
Yes.
or
Yes.
inhale.
But there's also been no.
It's not what he
There
said.
has been no studies that cigars lead to.
I didn't
any
say
type
anything
of
about cancer. I just said
No,
you're
he
not.
did.
I mean, I've seen head and neck cancer patients from cigars. I assure you, it can happen. Now,
There's
if
just no studies. No one's paid
they're
for the
smoking,
studies.
Like Swisher Sweets or something.
Hey, no one's paid for the studies.
That's
That's all he's saying. Common sense says it
I may
causes
say
cancer.
that there are less occurrences.
Common sense
Yeah,
says
right,
it
like
causes
fewer.
cancer.
It's the carcinogens and the cigarettes and chewing tobacco that are causing cancer. It's not
The filters and
it's
all the
not
other
the tobacco
a lot of that
leaves
stuff.
and the nicotine.
Yeah, but I feel like cigar they get more throat cancer as opposed to like lung cancer.
Here's
is
the
what we
common
see.
sense. Here's the common sense observation. You're inhaling smoke into your lungs. That can't be good.
Whether it's weed or tobacco,
It doesn't matter what it is. It can't be good.
Counterpoint to him saying that it's not the tobacco. Grilled meats, which are technically burnt, have known carcinogens.
Right.
Yeah.
The burn. That's
Yeah.
why you
So
don't
if you're
burn your
burning
meat.
anything,
That's what, if
yeah,
you're
it's
if you're
creating
if you're
carcinogens.
ruining
That's
any
true.
meat, you're creating carcinogens.
Correct.
I mean, the smoker that isn't ruining it when you smoke
No,
meat.
no,
I
no.
think it's-
Burning.
Burn, like
the
like-
burn.
I actually,
like
so I
char.
texted Rudra the other day that
The chars has carcinogens in it.
if they used how my wife cooks bacon to wrap a submarine hull, we would have 5 more billionaires on this earth.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's terrible. Who
I enjoyed it.
who cooks bacon
I
not in a
appreciate-
microwave anymore?
Wait.
I
Are they
appreciate
all
that the
5 of them were
takeaway.
billionaires?
I guess 4
have you
were
been in a
billionaires.
microwave?
Have you ever
It
done
works. I do it in the oven.
It is
I do it in
so
the oven,
much
too. On
It is
the-
so much better.
On like a baking pan?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Super
oven's the
crispy,
best.
yeah.
That's what I do is in the
No.
oven as well.
Yeah.
Not
do it
super
in a-
crispy
I'm
through and
telling
through, but
you.
the outside is. But then you get the nice chew in the middle.
Microwave
Yes,
is
that's my favorite.
the
You
gotta go
easiest
thick cut.
and most consistent way. If you know and you're paying attention to what you're doing, oven the
For
best.
scale, the oven's the best. But like a couple strips,
Microwave, holy shit, it will change your world. It's so
Never
easy.
mind.
You don't even have to pay attention to it. It's
because
just
it pushes off all the water,
oh, it's
Yeah.
so good.
but it gets hot enough to crisp your bacon.
It does.
And
And
that-
it
that's
is
why I don't like it
consistent
as
and it's
much
perfect.
than the oven because
It is drier.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
a lot drier, and I like
But-
a little bit of that soft.
Thank you.
If you like that,
We
you
talked
have-
about this
you have
literally
to-
this
Like,
morning.
yeah, no, this was an actual conversation
we had this morning.
If you like a little bit of moisture still in your bacon, you need to oven.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Microwave's
for
great
sure.
for like BLT. If you
I
want
still
that, like,
go-
French.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Cast
That's how we do it.
Yeah.
When we do our BL, we microwave all of our bacon.
Oh, cast
I go
iron
cast
is.
iron.
Oh God.
Cast iron is
One-
king.
Now you're just flirting with me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
It just
do.
moved a little bit.
Cast iron's 1-1.
Yeah.
I think the oven's 1-2.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Like we relatively recently like got rid of most of our cookware and just rebought everything with cast iron, and like we'll never go
Way
back.
better.
Yeah.
No,
So good.
Absolutely.
What do you? So you don't wash your cast
Oh,
iron?
hell no.
Right.
Wipe it out.
You wipe
You
it out.
wipe it out, right.
Yep.
Oh,
Right. Hey,
I'll
hey.
send you this Instagram guy.
I know
now.
he's big on washing with soap, and I hate that guy. He's like, I'm the cast iron guy. I'm like, you
You
made
wash-
it.
you just invalidated yourself.
Yeah.
But he also restores a lot of cast iron skillets too through the whatever they call it, the electrified
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
Electrolysis or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he has not the chemical one, but whatever the bath that he puts it in aside from the
Electrolysis.
yeah.
God, you're fucking killing it, Tyler.
They made this guy a vice president.
I don't the difference between me and Tyler, I don't just say a word and think it's right.
That's fair.
I look for
That's
people
fair.
and snap my fingers like,
Like-
hey, you
like
are
a
say the
true-
word.
you.
Say
like
the
a
word I'm
real-
thinking.
That's
Like,
a real
say
vice
the word I'm
president.
thinking.
Hey,
Hey.
others, fix
Use-
it. Yes.
Lowers,
Fill in the
lowers,
gaps. Fill in
please.
the gaps.
Hey, sales engineer, come on, help me out here.
That is exactly right because that's my job. That's exactly what fucking happens.
That's a C-suite
hey,
move.
make me
I've
look
ever
good.
seen.
Make
You're
me
hired
look
to
good.
know this shit. Like,
But I'm a solution consultant.
same.
It is. It's just a fancier phrase to describe your title. So that's funny.
My fun cast iron
That's
flex
funny.
real quick.
Yep.
That was good.
I have a cast iron from 1908 that my grandma used to cook on, and I still
God,
use it.
Oh,
I
that's
went-
awesome.
Oh, I bet everything just tastes better in the
Yeah.
If you would have
Don't-
told
don't-
me,
No,
for me, it
don't-
does. For
don't.
me, it
There you
does.
go.
But if you were to cook something in the exact same dish in another cast iron,
So
I don't know if you could tell the difference. But for me, it's super. I love cooking out of it.
yeah.
It's the coolest
because
thing
it's
ever for me.
seasoned. It's been seasoned for 100 years.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good. So I know this is not technically how you're supposed to do things, but when we cook in our nonstick pans, I don't clean them.
Just wipe them out. They're fine.
Yeah.
it
That's
gets
what I
hot
do.
enough to kill any
Hey,
bacteria.
That's
she was
what I
looking
do.
At me.
Huh?
She was looking
Who?
at me. Your
Trina.
wife.
Oh, okay. I didn't want
I
her.
thought she lifted her shirt
Hey,
up at you.
I didn't want her to hear that I don't clean them because
Oh.
she would freak the fuck out. So no, I just wipe them down.
Yeah, everything gets
So
the
as soon as
temperature.
she's done and it comes, like I'll wipe it down with some water and that's about it. And
The cast iron.
no,
They're
Yeah,
non-stick
non-stick.
pans.
non-stick. And I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Stuff tastes better now.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. It stays seasoned. I know
Oh, yeah.
that's technically not a skillet or a cast iron skillet, but it works on those too. I'm not kidding.
Dude,
Makes a huge difference.
It's his infinity pan.
But like you
Infinity
said,
pan.
like you said, when I cook eggs or anything, I put the fucking thing on. I
Yeah.
get it up to temperature, so anything's in it still is dead, and then I put the
Yeah.
eggs in.
Yeah.
It gets the
That's-
temperature.
I started cooking. Well, besides cast iron, I'll only do stainless. So my wife had her previous marriage. She had non-stick pans. I fucking
Your
hate 'em.
wife was married before you?
Yeah. We talked about this.
Maybe.
So
maybe.
I don't like non-stick pans, so I'll use my cast iron skillets that my dad got from his mom and
Yeah.
gave to me.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't have. And you would think in my family we were cookers. I don't have a single cast iron skillet. I might have one ready whenever my mom passes. There may be one there. I don't know. But
I love them.
don't think we ever had
They're
one.
amazing. But stainless too. You can get depending on what you're cooking, you can get almost the same result without having to use the non-stick. If you get it up to temperature and then put the oil in,
Yeah.
it's basically a non-stick.
Yep.
Well, yeah. If I mean, it has to be up to temperature.
Yeah.
And then honestly, that's kind of what the oil does. It becomes the non-stick
Right.
surface.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know.
Did you guys ever watch? I think it was called Blackwater.
Dark water. I was going to
Dark
say that
water.
about the Teflon and the C4. I think it was C8.
Hey,
Yep.
you know that was my hometown, right?
I do.
That was West
That's why I brought
Virginia. It was
up.
across the river, but yes.
Belpre is the suburb of
Yeah.
Parkersburg, which is where that was.
Yes.
DuPont was right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw DuPont across the river.
Yeah.
Like that's my hometown.
Well, that's why I brought it up because did you ever see the movie?
I swam in that fuck. You know how many friends I've actually lost due to the cancers from that?
Yeah.
A
I say
few.
everyone has.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
fuck! Everyone has some.
A
of that in
few
them.
of my friends and a lot of people that are older than we've lost a lot of friends.
Was
from there.
Blackwater the
Dark
Netflix
Waters.
one? Or Darkwater, was that the Netflix one?
No, that was the mainstream one.
Okay, so
Then there's I think a documentary.
you got to watch the Netflix one. It's not a true documentary. It's more whatever.
fake
it is.
documentary.
Reenactment.
A reenactment, yeah.
Yeah.
But the lawyer, I forget who it is that portrays the lawyer during that time or for that case. Like he took on these cases for years and years and years and years because of you guys just got to watch it. It's
Kind of like
awesome.
the Aaron Brockovich type of thing.
Yeah, that Dark Waters. They reference Columbus because some of the cases happened in
They
Columbus.
did.
Columbus,
No, they
yes.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
because that was where the Supreme Court
Yeah.
of Ohio went.
And they
Yeah.
even show like the Columbus skyline and so you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I knew that. It's Kosai.
yeah.
Speaking of which,
Kosai?
Columbus.
Oh,
Fuck.
I was
You
hopeful.
You ever
know-
do Kosai After Dark?
I haven't.
I have one
Wow.
time.
Dude,
You should
Kosai
go
After
in
Dark.
August because Middle West Spirits will be there.
No shit.
Hey,
Hey,
Dude, let's set it up.
bourbon.
get us passes.
I'll pay for it. I don't need a fucking
No,
pass.
I'm just
It's like
joking.
$8.
Is it really? Is that all it is?
Kosai After Dark is so
All
much
right, never
fucking
mind.
fun. I
I'm
love
in.
it.
I'm
Hey,
in.
man,
I
get
wanna
us the
go.
date. We get us
Strike
the
that
date.
from the record.
They do it
I
one
will
day a
tell you
month.
too- Yeah, so
And it's a Thursday.
Kyle's going to
It's like
do
a
cocktail
Thursday
classes.
once a month.
Nice.
And then
Oh,
we'll
really?
be there. Yeah.
Classes?
Well, like a presentation, yeah.
Oh, so you don't get to go along with them?
Well, I mean, there's a bar. You can
What
buy
time
drinks
is
and-
it?
But I mean, you can't like make
Starts at,
them
like,
while
6,
he's
I
making
think.
them.
6 to like 10 or something?
I don't know.
6 to 9 or something like that. Hey-oh, yeah. But no, I feel like it's like 3 to 4 hours is all that it's open.
Which Thursday of the month is it?
It's
I'm
like
pulling
the
it up
first.
right now.
I think it's like the third
third?
Thursday of the
It's
month.
like the third Thursday of the month.
But
the
Kosai After
17th?
Dark is so much fun.
No, it is. I
they
went
always have
there.
Steam.
Rudra's going to be there.
I went there on a.
It is
on a-
August 10th.
10th.
Oh,
This
sorry.
is the first Thursday of the
Ooh.
month.
That's the second Thursday of the month.
Are
The
you
10th?
sure?
It's brewing
Are you
and
sure?
distilling.
Yeah, I'll be here.
So
Are
there'll
you
be
sure about
breweries.
that?
We're going to be there. That'll be
What?
good.
I think I'm in
do
time
it.
for that. I leave the 11th.
August 10th.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
What time does it start?
I think 6.
I think 6.
I'm gonna have to get
Cool.
someone to cover my. No, that's Trina's night.
You got
Fuck
plenty
her,
of time
we'll
to
go.
figure it
Yeah,
out.
let's
All
do
right.
it.
Can we
It's
can
so
we
much
get in
fun.
early and do a podcast?
I like
Do
how
you
we
know
all
people
look
that
at
could-
Rudra.
Do you know
I can
people?
ask, probably.
That would be cool shit.
So it's crazy. So Alpha Phi Alpha did a barrel pick. They had their big celebration here in Columbus, and one of the guys who set it up and did the pick and coordinated everything actually is the diversity officer at COSI.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
So he was like, "Hey, by the way, have you guys ever done this?" And we're like, "We used to before COVID." And he's like, "Well, I just took over a couple years ago. You guys should come back." And they're doing a brewing and distilling, so we're going to be there August 10th. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's make
do
a
it.
plan to honestly be there August 10th. I'm
Even if
I'm
we
down.
can't podcast, I'm in.
Yeah, even if we can't podcast, I'm down to just because it's
I
a
will
Thursday
pay extra
night.
for planetarium. I always do.
Yes, please.
That's my thing. I'm always like, planetarium, let's
I
go.
It's the best.
All about the space shit.
Yeah.
If we can podcast, even better. But if not, then whatever.
I'm gonna text my wife and tell her to get a babysitter right now.
I'm just going to add that to my calendar.
Yep.
I'm going to try to get someone to cover Trina's shift so she can join us as well.
Last time I was there, they
What
had
time does it start? 6?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
think so.
I'll have to cover Thursday. I'll have to switch with like Emily, see if she can do Thursday. Both. I'll do Tuesday. She'll do Thursday.
Last time I was there, they turned the planetarium into a giant karaoke. And so, like, the lyrics were on the whole planetarium.
I
It
love
was
that.
fantastic. It was great. And everyone was
Did you
doing,
sing?
like, I did not. Well, I sang along, but was not, like, up there singing, to clarify. But it was all, like, 90s, like, rap music and, like, the most,
Amazing.
like, just, it was fantastic, every bit of it.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
How did you cut your head?
Someone in jiu-jitsu doesn't shave their cut their fucking nails.
Oh, shit.
And they scratched me.
That would bug the
I
shit
keep
out of me.
fingernail
Scott Burr got
clippers.
his eye busted open by some new guy, too.
Oh, are you serious?
Because people are just...
Well, they
people
probably
need to
if they're
calm the
new,
fuck
if
down.
they're new,
Where
they
do
probably
you-
just don't know.
Where do you jujitsu?
Endeavor.
And in my gym.
I didn't know you guys had jujitsu.
Yeah.
now.
What the hell? Seriously?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we've had it since the beginning.
I didn't know that.
Well, it's evolved. The program's
I thought it was
evolved a lot.
Krav.
Yeah.
But we had
have
Krav,
Krav as
yeah,
well.
but we've
Yeah.
had BJJ for years.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Long time.
I didn't know that.
I think even Andy took some of our BJJ classes.
You took your BJ class.
Well, that's a whole different class.
Get
Smells
that
like,
other smoke wagon.
Smells
I was saying,
like-
we
my
need
glass
more
is
whiskey.
empty.
Right.
Smells like cucumber, not a copperhead.
Yeah.
It
You
is
ought to do a
crazy
drop-in
that
sometime, man.
every single
drop-in.
person has run out of whiskey. I don't think I've ever seen that on this podcast.
We are.
There's no glass
Listen,
with whiskey.
It's
in it.
also
This-
because dude's responsible right now for passing it
No,
out, and usually
that's
someone
not
else
it.
is because he likes
I think
to
it's
talk.
because I'm actually enjoying. We have not, as a group, been together in a long. I don't know that you've ever been together.
No,
Not
he
on
came for the
podca-
pick,
Yeah,
not on the podcast.
yeah.
but
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Who?
This feels like the bottle kill.
Oh, you
so
haven't
for
met
light.
Sam.
no,
Yeah,
You haven't met
we were
Sam.
new.
That's who it
Yeah.
was. Okay, I knew it was someone. Yeah, I brought you for the NWS pick.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. That's
like
right.
how high your
'Cause
voice
I'm always,
got with
I'm always
that.
thinking of you.
that's right.
Always thinking of you, especially when I'm with Trina.
Ayo.
Or is she always thinking of me?
When she's pegging him.
We both are. We both are.
I love how casually you threw that out. Just yeah, which is pegging.
We should just cash that.
Pegging
What?
Fridays.
I
What's
think
in there?
I'm. Yeah. Oh, well, hold on. I haven't poured yet.
Just cash it and be like, here you go.
I'm fine with cashing
Sucks
it, but
to
let me
suck.
have some.
Oh, that's
Say
not
it takes
bad.
so
All right,
long, yeah.
all right.
We all got enough.
That's about
Yeah.
the same. right?
Yeah.
I got more, but still, I
Yeah,
should.
that's good.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm
I
good.
wasn't cheersing you.
I'm not sure.
I was
All right,
choosing.
we just hey bottle kill episode.
Hey.
What the fuck? That was an unsolicited cheers.
I didn't know what you were
I did
doing.
not
You were like
consent.
I
leaning
was
towards me.
comparing how much we had poured.
I didn't know we were in
He wanted
7th
to do a
grade
boomerang.
measuring dicks.
Let's do a boomerang. Let's do it. I'll do it. I'll do a boomerang. All right. So you're right, though. We have drank probably the least amount by this point in a show ever. Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
And this is what.
And we still
what
haven't even
number
gotten
uncut,
to your
unfiltered?
Jim Beam lineage yet.
Nope.
Oh, shit.
Oh, you better milk it, Brett,
Yeah.
because you don't want to pass up on that $750 resell value.
The price has changed every time he's mentioned
Right.
it.
Well,
Well,
no,
no, somebody
but,
sent me a link. They're
It's
the cheapest
$250
retail.
MSRP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I got it
And
for.
it's $750 on the
Secondary.
resale. Yeah.
And if you go to like Cask Cartel or anywhere, it's $1,000.
My price has not changed. I've said those two same numbers every time.
I guess I didn't realize you were saying what he paid.
if you
Cartel
read
is
my
insane
text, it
with
says
their
all of what
prices.
I just said.
still buy it though.
I know. That's what drives me nuts.
I want to hear the details
Because
on
they
that.
get
Insane.
stuff they don't get access to, and they don't have to leave their house. There's a convenience
But
factor.
there
Hey,
is,
when,
but
when are you guys going to do another double cask?
They just released a whole bunch.
this,
Yeah. I tried to sign up for it and I didn't get picked. So that's why I
Oh.
want to know when the next time that they're going to have it.
we have Oloroso. No, yours is OHLQ.
No. Oh, I thought you said you were holding back some.
We have the Oloroso still in the bottle shop, double cask, Cast strength single barrel.
That's good.
Is that the weeded?
Yeah.
Yeah. Their weeded is outstanding.
I don't disagree, but my favorite was the rye.
Yeah.
For-
and
Oh, the
that's-
rice single
1-1.
barrel was really good.
I love the smile.
it was
The
really
smile he just put
Wait,
out
the double
when he
cast?
said that.
Cast strength, ported pumpernickel rye. We did a single barrel cast strength. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the double
He's talking about
barreled
the double.
cast strength.
That's what he's talking about.
That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, the
double
rye.
barrel.
Yeah, it's finished cast strength.
In the
Yes.
port. Yeah.
You're using wrong words.
That was my. I still
Tyler.
have
Words is
the
hard.
first run of that.
I still
like,
have.
a
I
little
still
bit
have some.
much.
I still
the
have a
sherry.
whole unopened bottle
I saw,
of
yeah.
both.
Now the sherry
The
cask.
bourbon
I should
and
clarify.
the rye, and I might even have
So
the
good.
weeded, the Oloroso.
That's one
So
that I
good.
keep on my desk at work.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I've got
I have
the
I
original
deeped
OYO.
my home collection by
Batch
bringing
one,
the rest
yeah.
of them
Yeah,
to
batch
work.
one. I've got
and
that.
So I've got 4 or 5 bottles at work. That's just like a good like.
So you still do have
I'm-
the
I'm still
Oloroso in
disappointed.
the bottle shop? I'll just stop
Yep.
by and grab
Yeah.
one.
When you guys did all those release, it was right in the middle of all my shit,
Yeah.
man. I couldn't get there. I think you even held me a couple bottles for as long as you could. I just couldn't get there. I've had so much shit going on. Like, between my contractor fucking me without lube and my mom
Taking Fridays have never been the
going
same.
down there, it hasn't been. I've been raw ever since. I've just never recovered. My dad passing, my dog passing, our house flooding. Like, it's just been crazy since December. It's just, I've never had, and I know this is karma, and it just so happens we're drinking karma tonight. But like, the year of COVID, I had an amazing year. Everyone's like, life sucked, and my year was amazing. Made the most I'd ever made in a year financially. We did so much around the house. Like I had a good year. My wife and I, like, not that we disconnected, but we reconnected in a way that, like, tons and tons of sex. I mean, it was crazy.
Also a flex.
No, but like, I am flexing about that year, and it doesn't surprise me that this year has sucked as much as it has. But like, because I work from home, like, we would walk our dogs. We would go on like 3 or 4 walks through the park a day, which is just crazy. I can't do that on a normal day, but during COVID you could. And we moved our gym into our garage. We were working out together every day. Like, I said that there was going to be 2 types of things happening from COVID: a lot of divorces
And a lot of babies.
and a lot of babies.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't fixed, we would have had a lot of babies ourselves.
Yeah.
Honestly, I couldn't imagine. COVID was one of those things that just reinforced that I picked the right person. You know what I mean? Like, because
If
we got
Keely would
along.
have been fixed, we would have had a lot of babies. And
Right. So
like
you're in the right.
2020 and
You're the same-
21 were awesome for us.
You're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Financially, it was awesome for both of us.
Yeah. Well, collections makes sense.
Ooh.
I mean, well, but I mean,
Getting
that's,
that VP bonus.
but
Well, it's
seriously,
because
I
the
mean,
government was giving so much money out to people, they were paying their bills. It was like it was insane. We
Yeah.
had a 43% increase in our
Damn.
inbound
actual.
calls
Wow, that's nuts.
because people wanted to pay off their bills.
I
It's
see.
insane.
If I've ever been sent to collections, I've never called collections. I've called the originator and paid
we
them.
still get paid,
That's fine, but I've never called collections.
but you don't get the discount.
I never have. I've never been offered a discount. Never once. How do you work a discount into collections?
We'll talk
Not that I get
offline.
into collections. Fair enough.
You know the VP.
Not
He
that I
doesn't
get-
want all the poor people who listen to Bourbon Hunters to get all the secrets.
Well, they're poor because they
Right.
pay for bourbon.
They buy stuff like Lineage and then they go to collections.
Fair enough. So, what do we get on the nose on this uncut?
Is
Unfiltered?
that the one over there?
Yeah.
This is a floral for me.
This is going to be really niche, and I don't know if you guys have ever had it, but I had some this weekend, and this smells like it. Have you guys ever had like Turkish Delight, the little like jelly candies?
Yeah.
This is like rose Turkish Delight. It's like a heavy sweetness, but there's like a sweet like floral rose note to it.
I don't know if I've ever had the rose Turkish Delight.
So, just for anyone who is paying attention, this uncut unfiltered, we just killed the bottle, and I think this bottle is from before they put batches on it.
If it is, you can look it up from the
Percentage.
ABV.
Yeah. But I think the one I have sitting here that we haven't opened yet, I think has the batch on it somewhere. And I don't know where they
Top.
put it.
Yeah, that top.
Oh, there it
row.
is. Yeah. So the batch number 54. So the one we just killed was a pre-batch numbered batch.
Yeah.
And now I knew that was a newer thing. And when I got that bottle, I was like, oh, this is different. because it had the batch number on it, and this one does not. And so, like,
This is good. Their early batches of the uncut unfiltered are amazing.
well, those are the ones that were.
What's
Hot
the
take,
ABV?
I don't like it.
That's okay.
At
You're allowed.
all.
What's the ABV?
It is 57.6. You're allowed not to.
Yeah,
I think.
I can appreciate. Like this is.
I don't like it as much as the last single barrel we did.
Here's the thing. It's not that it's bad.
Well, I
It
said
hits
3,
all of the notes that I
56.3.
don't like.
Yeah,
And like,
which for you it's bad.
yeah,
that's
and
fine.
that's like
okay.
the burn comes early and just like kind of kills my palate after that, and it's left with a very dry and a hug the whole way through. Like
It is a little tannic. I will agree with that. For me though, the burn hits me afterwards. It doesn't hit me on the front.
mine hits me almost immediately.
I get hardly any burn on this.
Yeah,
Really?
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get a
it
lot of
at
burn
all.
either. But this is quintessential MGP.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
The,
agreed.
the
Absolutely.
nuances of the single
Like the
barrels aren't
Remus
there.
and the
Correct.
Agreed, 100%. And I like this.
I like this.
I mean, this when I say the burn, it's not a burn. It's there's a little hug. Just
I don't
it's
even
like a
get that.
breath out, and then it hits you. It's like a little starburst in the chest, and then it's gone. It's not crazy. It's not like, it's just a nice little warmth in the chest on an exhale.
Sorry, say the ABV again.
57.6. 57.6.
I was off. Sorry, I said 3.
That's all right. It happens.
Couldn't remember.
It would have just given us the wrong information.
If they even have one at that ABV.
So what do you think of this, Rudra? Do you like it?
57.69.
I do like it. I
Just
think
6.
drinking a lot of bourbon, I think.
Flex.
He's in the industry.
No, I mean, and this is people in general. I think you get really caught up on like name and
Oh, yeah.
and, like, oh, this is a sought after bottle and all that. But if I went to somebody's house and they gave this to me, I'd be like, this is a great pour.
That's 100% how I feel about your product.
But also,
Yeah.
Like-
100%.
it's one of those
Midwest
things like,
Spirits he's talking about, by the way.
Yeah.
like for Smoke Wagon, I don't own any Smoke Wagon. I have family members who own tons of it, and I've never gone to their houses and just grabbed a bottle and poured it. But now that I've had it, now that I've had
Try
these,
it out.
I would. If they're like, hey, what do you want to pour? I'd be like, let's do some uncut, unfiltered Smoke Wagon.
You can get it in Columbus now.
Yeah.
So I would have never, ever had it before had I not been part of this club, the Bourbon Enthusiast Club. And he hasn't, I don't think he's done a pick from them in a long time because Aaron blew up over COVID. These were all during COVID. And I guess he just doesn't respond back to him anymore. We got Aaron on the show early. It was
Yeah.
like in the top first 100 episodes. It was like first maybe 50 episodes even. He was on an early like 2020 episode. And he was cool as shit. Joined us over video, and
He was smoking a cigar
He was smoking a
outside.
cigar. He was sitting in his backyard, and he was just telling us stories, and it was cool. It was like everything you expect bourbon to be.
Yeah.
He's drinking with you, telling stories, telling you how he started everything, and just so laid back. So laid back was just such a cool. What'd you find out?
I can't tell which batch it is because all of the 57.6 whatever have another
Second
decimal.
number. Yeah.
So there's 57.69, 57.63.
This was pretty early.
50.
I bought this after I think Karma on the interwebs, so it would have been like probably 2020.
Well, but those are the only 57.6s. So batch 24, there's a October 10th, October 11th, October 13th. They're all 57.6.
Of what year?
2020.
That might be around that same time. That might have been when I got it. That's possible. I wouldn't be surprised if it was early. What's the first batch? What year?
2017.
27. Okay, yeah, for sure.
We
not
only
that.
had one batch in 2017, 3 in 2018, 2 in 2019. and
All
there
right.
was a
Well, then
bunch
it
in
probably
2020.
is a 2020, and it might have been October. That's. I can't say with any certainty that it wasn't around that time. So, yeah, I like this. What do you think about this, Brett?
I enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favorites we've had.
What did you think about the last one we had? Was that the one you didn't like?
I just said I liked the Karma bottle better.
Okay,
than that
okay.
one.
The Karma bottle holds a place for me just because of the story. But I think I liked our third bottle we had the best. This one's my second favorite, I think.
This is probably my favorite so far.
Is it? Mm-hmm. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's like a 1-1 and a 1-2 between this one and the last one.
Yeah. What do you think, Rudra?
I would put all the single barrels above this one.
All the single barrels above
All
this
of
one?
them. I think the complexity in those.
But you're not against cinnamon either. He's against cinnamon, which
don't
I
like
understand.
No, not at
why.
all. But I think if you're looking at it as like a
Yeah.
beginning, middle, end finish, I would pick the single barrels.
It's my least favorite so far.
Yeah.
Just the harshness of it.
Even more than the shelfer, the primer that we didn't talk about.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would take the primer over this.
Really?
Just the shelfer, yeah.
All right.
The shelfer was good.
And so the interesting thing about the uncut unfilters is you might have a completely different experience on the next one.
100%. 100%. Like, that's
Speaking
the
of
point
which,
of the whole thing.
do you want to try it and compare it?
I mean, you brought it out.
I'm open to opening it. So if you guys want, I don't know where you guys are. I know this guy doesn't like to drink too much.
No, I don't. I haven't had dinner yet either.
That's
my
not-
other
that's
thing.
not a thing.
So
What's dinner?
that thing that
I think it has a perforated section, but you do that.
that I
That's fine.
sometimes eat and I
That's way
sometimes
more
don't.
fun.
Dinner is White Castle.
There was one close on the way home, but there's for
don't-
me to go home, I just go Alton Derby, and there's not going to be anything.
We don't have a White Castle in Hilliard, do we?
I don't
No.
think so.
Yeah.
No.
So let's talk about the bottle you brought.
There's
Are you
one
still
down
okay
on
with?
Hilliard
Yeah,
Road.
it's here to be open.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I mean, for the price, I don't want you to be.
Where-
Oh no,
Stay
it's
off of-
if it was not to be opened, it would be at my house. I didn't bring it to just show you the neat packaging.
So do you know the story behind it? And if
Hilliard Road?
can you introduce it? I thought
I know where that is. I do. Never mind.
there
Go
is
ahead.
one nearby, right?
Yeah, it's off Hilliard Road.
Yeah, I thought there
Yeah, yeah.
might be. It's down near
It's
Treview and
almost
stuff, right?
towards-
Renner.
Almost to 70.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I know. Yep, I know where it is.
Yep.
All right, so White Castle for you.
That's where I'm going.
So, Rudra, if you have the ability, introduce the Jim Beam lineage that we're about to have. This is a $250 MSRP bottle, $750 if you're lucky,
Flex.
closer to $1,000 if you
I've enjoyed that.
flex. What?
Anything.
How much I spent on it?
Right.
Oh, but you got it at the distillery for retail. You didn't buy it
Yeah,
secondary.
and the crazy thing is, somebody bought it in front of me, and we were about to go on our tour. And I said, should I get one now? And
That's
they're
what
like,
Smoke
oh
Wagon.
no, we got plenty. It came out like a couple of days prior. So I was like, are you sure? And she's like, don't worry. So we went on our tour, went and tasted everything, grabbed a couple things, and I was like, oh, by the way, is there a limit? And she was like, no. So, wait, what? So I got a second, and I took it over to Ryan at the distillery, and neither of us have opened it because it's such a nice package.
So
It's
you had
such a-
2 bottles of it,
Yeah.
and one of them's at the distillery unopened.
Yeah, it's in Ryan's office. I gave it to Ryan because
Really?
it's fun to grab rare things, not
It
only for the
is.
bourbon, but packaging.
Yeah.
That's
No,
a beautiful
I
wood
love
packaging.
Yeah.
So I always say, "What is my wife?"
Judge a book by a cover?
No, but
Oh,
what do I
there's-
always say about my wife? She's a package whore.
Oh, I was going to say, well,
She
a lot
lo-
of
There's
things.
so many things
She
you
is
say about her
such
wife.
a whore for my package.
Yeah, I was like, I don't
No.
know where we're going with this.
Right.
No,
Pain
but-
Fridays.
But honestly, she loves packaging. When we were into wine, if it didn't matter if it was a $5 bottle of wine, if it had a good label, she loved it and she'd buy it. She'd buy it. She may not have loved what was inside of it, but she loved it and she'd buy it. Same thing with vodka. If she sees a vodka with a really cool label, she buys it. She is a marketer's wet dream. Honest to God. So she is, I call her,
Yeah.
But no, that's me. Like I can do marketing because I was like, what would I buy?
right.
Yeah.
What would
Yeah.
draw my eye?
But I say all the
Let's do
time,
that.
she's a packaging whore. And I don't mean that in some filthy, like nasty way. She likes to have sex with packaging. It's
I
not
mean,
like
that
that.
too,
Well,
but-
yeah, but I mean, when we role play, but if it has a nice look about it, it will attract her to buy it. And she's one of those people. She will buy it for sure if it has a nice look about it. And it's not a knock on her because I think that's just how we all are now. If it looks clean, so what I always like to compare it to, Procter and Gamble, right? Let's just say that you have Head and Shoulders, all these other things, and then you go into Kroger, and you buy the Kroger brand, or you see the Kroger brand sitting next to the Procter and Gamble brand. They're the fucking same thing.
it's made in the same place. Yeah.
Procter and Gamble makes the Kroger brand of stuff. Head and Shoulders, all those things. You're going to buy 9 times out of 10, unless you're hurting for money, you're going to buy the Procter & Gamble,
Absolutely.
even though the Kroger brand is the exact same thing and it's $5 cheaper. I think that's just where we are nowadays. What do you guys think on the second uncut unfiltered
This is my favorite one.
of the night?
Yeah.
Of the
Hands
night.
down. Like, this is really
And
good.
and it's a neck pour.
Like, I get like hella dark cherry
All
on
right,
the nose.
let me
Like,
go-
it's a very fruity.
What do you
very-
think about this? So
Schnoz.
continue.
Very, very fruity on like the nose. The initial, like the burn is initial and then fades super quick, and
Yeah.
it's very viscous, and like you get that like dark stone fruit on the tail end of it.
This is batch 54, bottled in 2021, April 8th, maybe.
yeah,
It looks
like
smudged.
even as a neck
And
pour,
it's-
this is my favorite of the night.
57.76% alcohol by volume.
I'm gonna
Off the
have
clock.
A weird. This tastes young to me. It tastes like corn.
I don't know if it's young, but there is a bitterness at the end. But there's so much before it that it's okay.
I don't.
So I swallowed right away on this one. I didn't do Kentucky Chew. Hey, your mouth is full. What do? You swallow. You don't spit. I see everything you're all saying. There's a lot happening on this. I only had one drink so far, but I did a quick swallow just to kind of grease the mouth, if
Yeah,
you
you
will.
did.
Shut up.
It's really flat for me on the palate.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you sniff, do all the things, water, all that stuff?
It's
Do it
flat
again.
to start, but like I'm so used to a burn, and then that burn lingers through. The burn is like the midway point. in
I
this
don't.
pour.
I don't get a burn. This like. I'm not gonna call it any names, but this is like a very renowned sour mash that just hits flat on my palate.
Michter's whiskey. You know,
Bigger
almost
distillery than
you
that.
know, almost all the distilleries are sour mash. You do realize that, right?
Yeah, but most of the bourbons don't advertise sour mash on their.
They don't
labeling.
advertise it, but they're almost
That's why
all.
I just said. That's why I said.
I'm
what
just
I
saying,
said.
but they're all.
That's why I
You
what
said
I
a renowned sour mash. I'm just saying they're almost all sour mash.
So what's the most renowned?
Michter's says they're sour mash on their whiskey.
I know what he's referring
Yes,
to.
you do.
Just fucking say it out loud. Then this is a podcast. We don't give a shit. When have we ever
What,
given
what
a
am
shit?
I referring to?
Related to or may sound like Mac Schmanuels. I didn't get it.
I don't know what the fuck you just said.
Jack
Jack Daniels.
Oh.
No.
That's the world-renowned sour mash.
They're all fucking sour mash. Every fucking huge distillery is sour mash. Every
Yeah,
one
but
of them.
I feel like
Are you sour mash?
We are doing sour mash R&D.
But are you sour mash for your
No.
product?
no.
No.
So you guys don't fucking backset and then use that backset.
Right now we're testing it, but we don't. For the bottles you are buying, they are not.
Okay. So you are
Sweet mash. Pure sweet mash.
one of the exceptions of a what do
Distillery.
well distillery
Mid-level.
distillery, but column still that doesn't do fucking sour mash. That is a major exception in the column still industry of doing a sweet mash. That doesn't fucking happen very often.
He's still.
I
not
don't
gonna
love
say
this
it.
one.
Just say it.
This drinks like me to like Elmer T. Lee.
Really?
Elmer T. Lee.
Super flat.
That's every. Oh, what the fuck ever.
I love this.
I love you. Rip on Elmer T. Lee because it is sour mash all the fucking time.
No, that's not why I rip on it.
But like
It
first
hits
time
so
you mentioned it to me, you ripped on it because it was sour mash. You're like, I don't like sour mash. I'm like,
We're-
every fucking
we're
thing
not-
is sour mash.
We're not latching onto the right point.
I
He
agree.
said
I
the
agree
most
with that.
well-known sour mash, and then he drops Elmer T. Lee,
Yeah.
a
It
bottle
is.
that you cannot. It is not.
No.
You cannot find it. 99% of
Nah.
people have not drank it. But then to say the most well-known is
It
is
is
a reach.
To me, as
Oh,
far
to
as
him.
Like,
Sorry.
sorry.
To him.
The data
Sorry.
point of one.
Yeah.
To me,
Degrees
if
of freedom.
But even
zero.
Jack Daniels
who
doesn't.
else advertises on their label
Jack
sour
Daniels.
mash other than
But they don't put.
Michter's
And Michter's.
I like how other than
Michter's.
this and this and this,
No,
and this,
every
who is the
fucking
eighth
major-
most sour
No,
patch?
no.
Every
not eight.
fucking
There's
major
two-
distillery is sour mash.
There's
Every
a secret. Everyone is.
every
There was
major
two
distillery
labels,
is sour mash.
There was two labels distinctly in my mind that have printed on their label sour mash. Michter's and Elmerty Lee.
Jack Daniels.
And Jack Daniels.
But they also have the whatever, the Tennessee
Whiskey.
wash, whatever the fuck they call it with the maple.
Charcoal
Lincoln-
mellowing.
Yeah.
the,
yeah.
the
Lincoln
Lincoln process.
Yeah.
Have you been to Jack Daniels?
Never.
It is the best distillery to go to. It is the prettiest
I've heard the
distillery.
same thing.
It is the best tour. Our tour guide, I don't know if he was
Jason from the Mash and Drum said the exact same thing. He went there for
Number-
what did they?
I went last year.
it was
don't
their big
remember.
release that they just did, like their 12 year that they just came
Yeah.
out with
Or
or
the
something.
10 and 12 they
Oh
released.
yeah.
The
So he
12's
went there for that.
The 10 and 12 are both really good.
He said
they were
the-
next
he
to us
said the
at
same
Whiskey
thing.
Fest
He
Chicago.
said the same thing.
I know.
I
want
got
that.
to try the 12 year. It is very impressive.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said it was really good. So they flew him in. He got to be there for like 3 days, and they
It is
did.
the coolest.
He said it was one of the best tours he's ever done.
Correct.
But he obviously got the VIP tour.
I went on a general public
But
tour.
yeah,
Same thing.
I've heard the same thing. I've heard the Jack Daniel's experience is outstanding.
Phenomenal.
I want to do it. I want to do it. We should try to figure out how to. It's in Tennessee, but we should try to figure out a way to.
But there's
fucking-
enough to do now. You can go to George Dickel.
Well,
You can
there's
go to
some good
Uncle
restaurants
Nearest.
there.
It's great.
Is Uncle Nearest nearby?
Yeah. So if you're in Nashville,
Yeah.
you're gonna hit Uncle Nearest on the way to Jack Daniels.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
halfway to Jack Daniels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably like a 3-hour drive from
should we
Bardstown,
throw off our normal?
right? Isn't it? About
Should
3
we
hours
spend a
from
day in
Bardstown?
Tennessee
Yeah.
this year?
But I mean,
I'm
I'm
for
just
that.
stuff like
How much further is
Okay.
the? We
It's
can
like
talk
an
about
hour.
it offline.
It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Nashville is
No.
a
Additional.
5-hour drive
from Bowling
Columbus.
from Bowling Green, it's like an hour.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
From
Why
Bowling
would
Green,
you go
Yeah.
to
So we're
Bowling
gonna
Green?
stop over, get
because
some
we
Corvettes,
stayed there for a.
and then we're gonna go to Jack
Hey,
Daniels.
because we stayed there last year for a bachelor party for AJ.
That is
We-
forever away.
We drove it December.
Bowling Green.
Oh, it's kind of not though. Like if you drive through the Bluegrass Parkway to where it meets up with 65, it's like right there.
You're gonna go through Bowling Green to get to.
It's
Nashville,
yeah. I mean, it's pretty close.
I'm saying from where we usually go.
Well, yeah.
It's like it's probably 3
here's-
hours
here's
from
the thing.
Bardstown.
But
You
that's
guys
what I'm
have
saying.
been-
Do we want to do
You
that?
guys have
if there's
been
enough
everywhere.
things. Yeah.
Go check out new stuff.
Have
It's
we
cool
been?
as shit.
Have we been to Jack Daniel's and Uncle Nearest? And what was the other thing you said?
George Dickel?
Have we been to those? I don't want to go to George.
I don't want to
Dickel.
go to George Dickel either.
I don't want to go to George.
I mean,
Dickel.
it may be a cool
I'll go to the other
experience,
two.
but
I went for a
do
tour and
not
I
like
didn't buy
the-
anything. It was definitely worth going.
I don't want to
Okay.
go to George Dickel. I don't care what he says.
I'm sorry. Go to Old Smoky and drink a bunch of moonshine.
Oh, fuck that. No, fuck that too. But hey, they have a bourbon too. I have it sitting
They do.
downstairs.
They
I have
do.
it sitting downstairs.
could go to
they sent me a
Nashville
sample.
Bourbon.
I still haven't tasted
You,
it.
there's
We could go to Nashville Bourbon.
there's a lot of good
Oh,
distilleries
Nashville
down there.
Supposed to be
Okay,
fun,
so
too.
what this
Yeah.
reminds me of that I also really enjoyed, and it was the hot take opinion of the night, the Kentucky Owl.
Yeah,
Like it's a very young, it's very corn forward, but it's got that like mid-range burn and it like knows beforehand and goes after.
All I know
That's
is
what
I've
it
got
reminds
some
me of.
clean glasses over here, and we've got some Jim Beam lineage.
Yeah, I can't get
I-
over the
That's fair.
Elmer T. Lee taste.
I still
I don't think this is my favorite of the night. I'm still between the middle.
Rudra, do you
The
know
second
what I'm
and the
saying though?
third.
Like that Elmer T. Lee flatness. As soon as it hits
I
your
get
palate,
what you're saying. I'm
that's
not
what's
hung
hitting
up
me.
on that. I'm hung up on the fact that you said
But
it's
Elmer
the
T. Lee is like
most
$37
well-known sour mash.
MSRP.
They were like the original Sour Mash.
No, they were not. You are fucking.
I'm about
drunk.
to say something that's make me sound like an asshole.
Yes,
and
please
it's a flex.
be. Please be.
I have a lot of people in the industry I could call right now, and I said name the number one sour mash, and no one will say Elmer T.
No,
Elmer T.
not a single one. They are not the number one. They are not the original Sour Mash at all. Sour
trying
Mash has
to-
been around for a long time. Before
He's
Elmer
trying to find
T.
the-
Lee
he's
was
trying to
even a
Google
product.
anything.
the one Redis post that supports him.
I'm going to Google the first known Sour Mash.
Well, you're going to be mistaken. So here's the thing. I get what you're saying. Elmer T. Lee for a $37 bottle of bourbon, which is what it's supposed to be.
Retail.
Which is what it's supposed to be.
And I've never paid more than $80 for it.
Is a good bottle of bourbon.
If you get me one for 80,
I have Elmer T. Lee downstairs. I drink it every once in a while. I have one bottle of it. I paid like $70 for it. And I think it's fine. I like it. I drink it every once in a while. Now, let's get into this lineage. Was that a segue?
I want to hear
It was
the
a segue.
lineage about the lineage.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yay.
Do you have info on this?
I do. I
All
have it up.
Let's tell us about it before we pour.
so Lineage is a collaboration between Fred and Freddie No.
Oh. All right.
Lineage being obviously the family.
Yeah.
It is their
Hey.
signature.
Fast and the Furious.
Oh, it is. Oh,
Family.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Damn straight.
Their
Quarter ounce
mash
at a
bill
time.
is 77% corn, 13% rye, 10% malted barley. They don't give an age in print, but when I was there and everywhere else I've looked, it's over 15. So the
Wow.
youngest barrel they blended in is 15. And it sits at 111 proof, 55.5 ABV.
You guys don't have a clean glass?
We should
No,
start
I
with-
will in a second. I'm good.
Anyone want a clean glass? All right. Clean
Oh.
enough. Here, clean glass.
Oh, I got one.
All right.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right. So we're going to give the honors to.
I hope it plays music when you open it.
I've opened this like 15 times.
So Rudra brought this tonight.
He
This
already
was
used the music.
It's all worn out, the battery's
To
dead.
be fair, Rudra, have I not mentioned you don't have to bring that?
No, true. But I also said in the text, if there is a group of people, there's probably less than 10 people that I would open a bottle like this for.
I appreciate
Multiple
that.
are here. Multiple also don't live in Ohio, so they're going to have to wait. But when you open it up, there's a nice gold plaque in there.
Yeah, it
Well,
is.
that's
It
cool.
tells you your
What's-
batch. It tells you your bottle number. So this is batch 1,
Ooh.
bottle 20,512.
That sounds like a lot of bad.
And you know what's really interesting? On the inside, it says 15 years, second floor of our Kentucky Rack House, K.
Does it say Rack House?
Mm-hmm. So Rack House and Rick House are interchangeable.
I know they are,
Yeah.
but
I
you
did
don't
not
hear
know
you don't
that.
hear Rack House very often.
No, you don't. Well, here's the other thing. The wooden piece that holds it in,
Yeah, piece of the.
magnet.
Fuck.
I was gonna say that's a solid piece of
But
wood in
that's-
there.
Oh,
That's
a
similar to the Angel's
gorgeous-
Envy.
Correct.
Every
This
year
is why you bought two.
Well, I only kept one, but yes.
for the fucking magnets.
So it is a beautiful bottle.
It is.
That is
the
a beautiful
whole-
Holy
bottle.
shit!
The topper is
the topper,
solid
yeah.
wood.
Hold on. So we talk about this a lot on the.
Wait, what's on the top of the wood that you just pulled out?
It's just it's a quote from.
Okay.
Actually, I'll read the quotes.
Yeah, read
Please.
the quotes.
Fred No and Freddie No both have quotes from Fred. When I look back at my legacy with Jim Beam, I will always consider this a proud moment, working with my son to create something new and premium for my family's brand.
Cool.
And then Freddie wrote, I've been learning our family traditions from Dad for years. I'm honored to finally collaborate with him on what I think is a really unique expression and celebration of our family's heritage.
So before we
That's awesome.
move
That's awesome.
on, can you think of very many other industries where, and not to quote, what is it, Travis Tritt, a family tradition? Like,
That's Hank Williams Jr., but
fuck, thank you. As soon as you said that, I was like, fuck, baby. I am so off. As soon as you said that, I was like, fuck, how could I say Travis Tritt? Like, honest to God, I was immediately scolding myself in my head.
it's all right.
I was like, damn it. It's Hank Williams. It is. Junior. But still, my
Very-
point
very
is.
different sounds.
Travis Tritt.
Yes.
Well, and senior Hank Williams.
Senior and
That's
junior.
my point.
Yes, you're right. They're very. My point is. The whole point of that incorrect analogy is that I feel like Kentucky bourbon has that lineage.
Oh,
Hey,
Right? Huh?
buzzword.
Huh?
Is that the callback? Is that the callback?
Callback. That was the what is it?
Chekhov's buzzword.
You're
Chekhov's
gonna pour mine, too.
what was it?
Yeah, I want you
Chekhov's
to pour mine.
Chekhov's
everybody
gun?
pour their
Yeah.
own. I don't,
Chekhov's gun.
I don't operate that way.
So
I drop it in the process.
no,
Whatever.
I'm kidding.
the bottle is fucking beautiful. It's embossed.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's got gold print on it.
Is it a screw top?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
a
With
wooden-
the wooden topper.
Yeah.
That fucking wooden topper
But
with
it's
a
a
screw
better,
top.
honestly, I get it. It's a better seal.
No, it's fine. I'm fine with that. I wasn't knocking the screw top.
Right. Two hands. Two hands,
This
boys.
is a
So,
two-hand.
so for
Two
all of you
hands.
listening, we have been handing it around the table. So,
Pour away.
all right.
It's for drinking. It's bourbon. I always joke when we give tours at the distillery. People
That
are always,
wasn't crazy.
No, people are always real tentative and they're nervous. And I always say,
I made eye contact first.
bourbon is for drinking. If you want to buy something to look at, buy art.
Yeah.
Brett, what show do you watch that gives you a story that says bourbon's for drinking?
What show do I watch?
Movie, documentary.
Oh, neat. Oh, yeah,
You're
yeah.
the
Sorry.
one who always fucking brings it up.
No,
do.
no.
You
When
do.
you said show, I went to like a TV series.
Nah, you're right. You're
No,
right.
that's why-
I said it wrong.
This is-
I said it wrong.
That's the only reason I was confused.
That's the first thing that popped in my head.
No,
John-
I do love that neat documentary. It's fantastic.
Freddie, right?
Freddie.
Like,
Yeah,
he sits
Freddie.
there and talks about like where they
Drinking the
open up a
bottle of
bottle
Pappy, yeah.
Of Pappy, that Pappy
and he's like,
23.
hey,
Yeah, I
let's
told
just
him-
put this aside. And he's like,
Yeah.
what are you? When are we going to get a chance?
That's like
to
an emotional,
me, your
like, scene.
brother,
It really
and,
is.
yeah, like you say it, I tear up. I tear up thinking about it. I'm thinking about it
Yeah.
right now because
Right.
my dad just passed, so like he wasn't into bourbon, but like that still other things that happened with my dad and I. When I hear that story, it makes me think of that, and it's like it's a very, very, very strong like emotional thing in that movie. Sorry, not show.
Documentary. I think it's a documentary.
That makes you think about like life
Yeah.
and mortality and what are we doing? Like, why are we collecting all these bourbons? Like, let's share them. Let's talk
Yeah,
about them.
absolutely.
Let's drink them and experience it together. Like, sitting on a shelf, it does nothing. And I
Because
think
if you don't drink it, someone else is going to at
Yeah.
another point in your life.
right.
I still, Rudra, I think you said it, but like I love this quote. Like the best bourbon is the bourbon you enjoy,
Yes.
and I firmly believe the second best bourbon is your best story behind it.
Well, there's yes, and like what Jason
Yeah,
always
oh,
says
yeah.
on the Mash and Drum is it's not the bourbon you drink, it's not about the bourbon you drink, it's about the people you share it with, basically. And that's what bourbon is to me too. That's why I know we talked about it at Top Golf. We talked about all this other stuff, and
I'm a great golfer, by the way.
It
yes,
was amazing.
there's a reel that
It
proves
was
that. There's a reel
so-
that proves that. But no, like to me, the whole reason I started this podcast was just to fucking hang out and
Yeah.
drink.
It's
You
a
know?
very communal atmosphere.
It is.
Communal.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the
That's a
funny thing is,
fucking great phrase.
it's an equalizer. So Sam and I used to talk about this when we did cigars. You could go to La Chaveta, which is where we went, and we would you could BYOB, right? We would take some barrel-aged stouts, we would take some cigars, and we would smoke. And I would know this guy sitting across from me is fundamentally, ideologically, completely the opposite of who I am. I can tell you this right now.
Yeah.
But for these 2 hours that we're smoking cigars, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Right.
and that happened more than once. Like
Yeah.
we would sit down with like random couple that just popped in and like,
Where is this place, by the way?
Clintonville.
yeah,
Okay, is it still there?
Yeah.
What's it called?
La Chaveta.
yep,
And it's a cigar bar.
So
type of
it's a
thing?
cigar lounge, but it's
Yeah.
BYOB.
yep.
So
that's
so
kinda
they that allows
Really
you to
fun.
smoke inside, probably.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Wait.
their thing is if you buy cigars there, smoke BYOB.
Yeah.
Can you
if
bring bourbon? Can you bring anything?
Yeah.
Or is
Yeah.
it just
And my big thing was like I became friends with Justin, who owns it, Kelly, who works there, and it was like, hey, do you want some? And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, if you want to try it, try these barrel aged beers, try these bourbons and whichever. And I became friends with Justin to the point that their anniversary parties, he would buy bourbon and then we would do a tasting, and he would tell people, if you buy a cigar, whiskey's on me.
That's cool.
are they still around?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You still go there?
We don't smoke cigars anymore, but yeah, I know Justin. I can shoot him a text and be like, "Hey, we're coming through. We could do a podcast
You don't
there."
smoke cigars, right?
Not anymore, no.
I would do it for a show like that.
I would do it. I would break that for a show.
So-
I have some Cubans in my basement that
I
were
would
given to me
go.
on my wedding from a former NHL All-Star.
Flex.
Flex.
That was
That is a flex.
that was a fucking
That was
flex.
down.
In hindsight, major
Deadpan flex.
But no, so this guy, his name is Steve Payne. Look him up on the interwebs if you get a chance. He holds, I think he still holds. He played for the Minnesota North Stars before they moved to Dallas.
Dallas, yeah.
He holds, I believe, the franchise record still for most penalty minutes in a period.
I love that.
So he was an enforcer, basically.
Yeah.
He was a goon.
Yeah.
And
Who they're all trying to push out and out of it.
Yeah,
Out of the end.
enforcer was my
Sure.
favorite position of any sport.
have you guys
ever.
seen the movie Goon with what's his name from Stifler?
Yeah.
basically?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah.
Typecast.
There's a second Goon too, which I didn't realize.
I didn't know that.
I haven't seen that yet. But that Goon movie was okay.
It's great,
Yeah, I was like, it's all right.
I'll sidebar with you. Keep going with your.
American Pie. I'm totally segueing. Have there been movies like that?
No.
No.
And-
Superbad was close.
The 2000
Superbad was good.
The 2000 sex comedies
Bridesmaids
was close.
Holy fuck!
One of my
Bridesmaids
favorites.
Great.
was really
Bridesmaid
good.
is so good.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off when people come on and say, "Oh, people won't watch movies that star women because, and I'm like, bullshit. You need to have a good movie with women. Like Ghostbusters, the remake with the women was terrible.
It was just a bad movie.
It was a bad movie.
It wasn't that the women made it bad. It was a bad movie.
And what was like salt in the wound, the best part of the fucking movie was the guy, Hemsworth. He was the funniest part of the movie. The movie itself was terrible. The new movie, Afterlife, great.
Was it Ocean's 13?
Yeah.
With the girls?
Yeah,
Ocean's 9 or Ocean's 8 or something.
Whatever
good.
it was, I can't.
It was good.
I never saw it.
Sandra Bullock?
I never saw it,
It was
because
good.
it was in. I didn't see it in theaters.
It was good.
And I can't get it on any streaming stuff. Still
Really?
to this day, you have to buy it. So it
Oh,
must have been
yeah,
good.
okay, yeah.
Time to
They're called
sail the
torrents.
seven
Must have been
seas.
good.
They're called torrents.
But like,
You're making VP money. You can't buy a movie.
right. He doesn't want to make that commitment. That's 2 hours, $20. That's a lot. That's a big
I told
commitment.
one of my underlings to watch it and like sum it
Hey,
up for me.
watch this
You
and
know
tell me
what?
the ROI on this.
You know what?
ROI, fuck yes.
If I
Love
could
it.
buy it, perfect. I'd buy it today.
Here's the
but I
thing.
can't just rent it.
Fair.
For anyone who makes that argument, I just say Alien franchise. The biggest hard-ass woman heroine of all
yeah.
fucking times.
Sigourney Weaver, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I watch the shit out of every one
Or,
of
I'm sorry,
those.
Riley.
Riley. I watch every one of those because she was a bad. I don't give a shit if it's a guy or a girl.
same thing
If
that,
it's a
like-
good movie, it's a good
I
movie.
want to drink this, by the way. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, so
I haven't
like,
even
we're
smelled.
gonna
I haven't even
pause.
I don't mean to be
smelled it
that guy.
Hey,
I've been
Laura
smelling
Croft's
this for
a
5
Tomb Raider.
minutes.
That
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I was going to Laura
That
Croft
was an okay
and
movie.
Sarah Connor from Terminator.
Yes,
Sarah
Terminator.
Connor.
That's the other one. Terminator
Yeah.
2.
Terminator 2. Sarah Connor stole that
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
Right, Linda Hamilton.
She was jacked.
Right.
So, sight unseen, I bought this bottle because I saw the box and I absolutely was like, I know.
So is
yeah,
this your
yeah.
first taste of it?
Yeah, it's unopened.
Okay.
It was,
no, but I didn't know if he had it.
I
like,
took this.
Oh, they said it was
or-
unopened.
Yeah, yeah.
I took
no,
this-
I just
there
didn't know
was
if
no
he had a
samples,
taste-
nothing.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
But for me, the reason I bought it was one, the packaging is beautiful, but
There's
also
there's some oaks.
I
or
love
Leather.
Knob Creek 12 is my absolute
I
favorite.
love-
I've been talking
Yep.
about I
Yep.
can't find Knob Creek 12 lately.
It's hard to find in Ohio.
is.
It
It is
really
tough.
is. But for $70, even if it wasn't $70, it is my favorite.
Please do.
Period.
God, the nose on this is
So
really good.
knowing that I love that, Knob 15 is okay. It's a little bit too cinnamon.
Yes, for
But
me.
what was the new one? Knob 18?
18.
Yeah.
18,
Here's
I
a-
heard
you
jump,
want-
like 15 jumped the shark, 18
You want to hear
brought the
something
shark back
crazy
in.
about Knob Creek 18? They didn't have any in the shop, and I was like, damn, I would have loved to grab a bottle. We took the regular tour. You do your tasting, and at the very end, you get to pick between Legion,
Fucking,
Baker's 10, and Knob 18.
why would you choose the other two?
Well, here's the crazy part. I was like,
Because it
if
got
it-
good reviews.
if it was that good, I got really concerned. I was like, if it's that good, why are they giving away free tastings?
With Legion and
Yeah. And then we tried it, and I was like, I don't love it.
Well,
really 18?
Well,
No.
that was the same. Like we tried.
Because 18's the one that I've heard really good reviews.
If
about.
you put all three next to each other, I will pick 12.
all three of what?
Because
12, 15,
Knob.
and 18.
Okay.
You and
I will pick 12
Okay.
every time.
But you'd put 18 over 15 though, right?
No.
Really?
No.
You and I did the 15 versus 12, and like
Yeah.
the 15 was just musty.
15, yeah, 15 was
The
terrible.
whole way
We did
through.
15 on
Yeah.
one of ours, and
I
it was
was-
not good.
And here-
I
It's
love the
not.
12.
We actually got
12 is
it.
amazing.
I just smashed the bottle. I can. So
if you
my
can get me one, 100. Oh my god.
so my
12 is-
my
is
brother-in-law.
a sweet
they,
spot for them.
They
I
own
agree.
A
Yeah.
spot down in Tombstone, North
So
Carolina.
what you're basically
And his
telling us, you're
home track. They always have it.
okay.
you're setting
Sweet,
up
man.
right here that this isn't going to be good because this is 15 years or
Well,
older.
I was intrigued because I was like, I love Knob 12. I don't dislike 15, but if you pick between the two, I'll pick 12.
We dislike 15. I've heard good things about people who didn't like 15 who enjoyed 18.
You know what's crazy about this lineage on the nose? Is that
There's something
It's-
old about it.
it's old,
So-
but it's soft. Most
Yeah. I
old
get the
whiskeys
oak.
are
Yeah.
musty.
I get the
Yeah.
oak. I get like almost a tea leaves out of it.
Correct.
Tea
Most
leaves,
old
I get-
whiskey
yeah.
is musty,
I
right?
get some
Yeah.
oak,
You get over that like
but tea
15
leaves, you're
year
right.
mark, you get that like heaviness. This has none of that.
Yeah.
Tea leaves is good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
because I'm just thinking about like
I'm going
the,
in, I'm sorry.
like the EC18, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is very oaky, very like.
But it's also a single barrel, so like sometimes you get more
Lots of
oak than
oak.
others.
Lots of oak.
Oak.
Heavy
but
butter
not a bad,
on the back end.
but it's
for
not
me.
It's
No, no.
buttery on the back end.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
Oh, I
butterscotch.
was gonna say the same thing.
Like oaky butterscotch.
It's not tannic. It's not drying in the
Yeah.
oak. It's a good. It is.
It's if
There's
you
an oak
took all
presence.
all the good parts of 12 and then took away a little bit of sweetness.
Yeah.
Oh, and
This-
then now, ooh,
Yeah,
You know
I
what
like this.
the viscous of this reminds me of when we were in.
viscosity of it.
Yeah,
Viscousness.
The viscous of it.
the viscous.
You got a shit.
Yes. I'm going to say yes because he didn't
Sam's
answer.
pooping. He'll be back
Outside
in a second.
in the yard.
Beside
when
where
we're-
Bella
Side bellows.
poops. He's got to mark it.
When we were in at Willett's bar,
Yeah.
and we were trying all those
Oh,
Dusties,
that was so good.
that Old Crow,
The Old Crow and the Austin
That-
Nichols Wild Turkey was really
the
good
Austin.
too.
That's what this reminds me of. That like old school low low entry proof, like the way that it just coats your
Viscosity,
mouth.
yeah.
and
No,
it
I agree with that.
It doesn't like punch you in the tongue.
Yeah,
Even at 111 of proof, you would not know that. Like this.
I agree with that. I'm still disappointed when we went there that I didn't buy any of the Old Foresters that they had on, just to see what they used to look like or
Yeah.
taste like.
I'd like to so
We should go back
15
there.
years or
We
so.
will. We
I like
will.
to think about what I was doing 15 years ago
Yeah,
when I'm drinking
absolutely.
this stuff, and try and when this was being put in the barrel.
2008.
Yeah, I know. What was I doing in
Well,
2008?
2007
I graduated
maybe.
high school in 2007.
Probably 2007.
Damn, I'm so fucking.
So you
old.
were drinking
I was a
Wild
senior in high
Turkey.
school.
2008.
2007, I was a senior in high school, yeah. So
So
2008, yeah.
I graduated 2007.
yeah, same.
Hey,
Same age.
I graduated in 1993. Fuckers.
Old shit.
I had already graduated college by the time you guys graduated high
Yeah,
school.
you did.
I mean, I was
You
out
were
of high
probably
school. I was
slinging-
at college.
But
too.
you know
Graduated
what?
high
In
school in
England.
2007?
Yeah,
I
dude.
graduated in 2007.
In high school?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Same.
lived in England by then.
That's what I said.
I was a bartender in
You were
England.
slinging pints in England
not
by then.
Before
Warm
7 years earlier than that, I was serving people in England as a bartender. God, that's
In
crazy.
2000?
In 2000.
Were you back during 2001 or were you still over there?
No, I from March until September.
You know what's crazy? We have a graphic designer, and he was born in 1999.
Yeah,
November 99.
Isn't that the craziest shit?
And it was the first time in my life that I felt old at work. I always felt young, like I'm so young. Everybody's so much older. And for
Yeah.
the first time, I was like, bro, I was 11.
When you were born.
I was a senior in high school when you started
Hey.
first grade.
I was 24 when he was born.
Right?
Well, yeah, one of our new employees, I graduated high school the year that he was born. And he's like, what? Like, he couldn't fathom that I graduated high school the year that he was born. And I was like, it's going to happen to you too,
Dude,
Abdul
this is
Majid.
so good.
Like, it's going to happen,
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely.
So, back
This-
to the flavor of this.
This tastes like a Dusty.
This-
Yeah,
it tastes,
does.
but in all the good ways.
Yes.
This is very good.
Thanks for sharing this again.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Rudra.
Because this
Absolutely.
is not a Knob Creek 15 or 18. This is Jim Beam lineage. This is much different. It's good.
I laughed because I asked the guy behind the counter, should I buy it?
Damn.
And he goes, of course. And I said, of course you're going to say that. And he goes, well, yeah. It's also good. And I was like, well, I'll take two. And he goes, oh, you believe me that much? I'm like, we'll find out. Either going to have two really bad people or two really happy people. So,
you know what you
What do
should
you
do
think of
when you
this?
get back
I like it.
to the,
Yeah.
are you
Like
going to the
it's
office
super
tomorrow?
soft
Yeah.
the whole way through.
You got it for Ryan?
yeah.
It's a
You should
very
be like, Ryan, it's terrible.
What's
No,
like,
give it
I'll
to-
just
no,
give it
I can't
back.
do that because I already told him to
Here's the thing,
resell.
though,
He'll just sell it.
the juxtaposition between how soft
I love
it
that
is, but how it's not super viscous, but you get a very buttery
it
like
is viscous.
coating at the end of it.
I think
I
it's
agree with
very
Sam.
viscous.
It's not thick,
Yeah,
but it sits on the palate.
What, we haven't said this. What's the proof on this?
111.
111.
Oh, you did-
55.5.
You did say this?
I did.
Oh, okay. I missed it.
But it reminds me of a
It doesn't
very
taste like a
low-
111.
what's the proof on this?
Shut the fuck up.
45.
What I'd be interested in is what the barrel
Like
proof
entry, yeah.
or entry
I can't
proof
imagine
barrel.
it's different than what they do.
What's
on a-
blended, though?
I don't care.
It's
but
really
this
good.
reminds me of those Dusties where they have a low entry proof.
Yeah.
the older stuff before they got bought by corporations and how can we make the most out of our
And then have those
money? Let's
stupid high
entry proof, raise it up to the highest possible,
Yeah.
and then we'll proof it down afterwards in the bottle, and that just doesn't pay off for viscosity. The viscous,
But that's the difference in the viscosity with
He's learning.
in my
Unlike Tyler,
opinion,
he's learning.
with the viscosity of
He's just saying
a
as many
lower-
times
Right.
as he can.
I'm gonna.
It's like when you meet
buzzwords.
someone and you say their name 4 times so you don't forget. it.
Viscous,
I'm gonna
viscous,
like point to him
viscous,
and not look at him every time I say
tangential.
viscosity. But it's true. You can tell a difference in the entry level, whatever it's called.
Entry proof.
Entry
Yeah.
proof.
I thought you were going to
versus
say
like-
viscosity again.
Versus like if we get even if it's the same proof, right? But it was entered
Right.
at 120
Two things-
versus 90.
Same exact mash bill, same exact maturation process, things like that. One entered in at 115, one entered in at 125. I feel like you can tell the difference.
No, you absolutely can't, and that you can actually get back into the science of it. And as you add water to anything that is like polar versus non-polar, water is
Right.
polar, alcohol is non-polar. As you add water to something, you're going to disrupt its homeostasis, its
Yeah.
balance, and it's going to clump, it's going to group, it's going to act differently, and then when it hits your palate, you're going to perceive it differently.
Yes.
That's why single barrels are so good. That's why unfiltered, non-chilled filtered, not proof down, single barrels are so good because you're getting the truest form of whatever it is out of a barrel.
Right.
Now, I'm assuming these were not blended and hit 111 perfectly. They probably took a little bit and figured out that sweet spot. But they probably, like most distilleries, you're going to keep adding water until it's bad.
Right.
And then you pull it back and say, this is your sweet spot.
Yes.
So you can get the
But that's
most
what
out of
it,
your...
that's what it
Not
reminds
even
me.
about that. It's, I think, a
Well,
product
I'm
like
sure there's a part of that.
Well,
economically,
regular products, I would say yes. I think
maybe
a product
not
like
LTEs.
Lineage,
Maybe not LTEs.
no.
Yeah, you're not worried about moving product.
This is going to move.
product.
This is a product genuinely built to impress.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole the worst case scenario is somebody tries that and says, I don't like it.
You already made your 250.
Yeah, but
At the
by
end
the
of the day,
time
you
the thing
have.
hits
Right.
my
No,
tongue,
they're not going
it
to
is
come
so
back because it's not
silky.
going to be around anymore to buy a
Right.
second
I get lots
bottle.
of
So
oat
you're not getting
leather.
repeat. Yeah, you're not getting repeat.
By the time that
purchasers.
thing, you can tell with the higher
Damn.
entry proofs.
There's
When
a
it hits your tongue, you get a
syrup
little
to
bit
it
of
later.
hit in the mouth. With this, it's like silk.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
It's
a good.
just like
That's a good
silk
description.
bomb hitting your.
I was
I like
thinking.
silk.
I was
Tongue and
thinking syrup,
palate.
but silk is a better. I was sitting there thinking as you were talking, it was settling in on my tongue. It was kind of like dissolving, if that's a
Sure.
correct word.
Right? Does that make sense? Like
No,
It's
that
absolutely
makes 100% sense. That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. I was thinking syrup. I even said that across the table to Brett. But silk, I think that's a better word for it.
I also want to iterate the thought about how you need to have the good first experience.
pour.
No, it's not
Yeah.
that someone's going to go
Very
back
good
and
pour.
buy a second bottle of this.
Glad we
It's
finished
that
with this.
it's marketing. This to me is a marketing expense. If you have a bad experience, or if you have a phenomenal experience with that, people are going to be like, I guess I should buy a bottle of Jim Beam.
Yeah.
To me, this is more marketing than it is
I would go
delivering
buy
a
a bottle of
phen-
that right now.
It
if I
is.
could.
Like, yes,
for
but like-
250, not
I think
750.
he's saying though that you might go buy a bottle of regular Jim Beam
Right.
because you have
I,
this.
yeah.
It's
Yes.
that, and it's also sometimes you just want to see what's the best thing we can make.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
I honestly
Because at the
think
end
when
of
you
the-
got the nose involved, they don't give a shit about marketing. Jim Beam's handling that. Whoever's behind Jim Beam, the
Sure.
marketing machine behind them, is dealing with that. They're trying to produce something
The
that's
liquid in the bottle
that
is
they can be
I'm gonna-
memorable for.
Correct. I'm going to blow somebody's socks off because at the end of the day, you look
Because-
at a lot of distilleries that have products that are widely available. Maker's
Yeah.
Mark, Jim Beam, Evan Williams. When I take my friends down to Kentucky and I say we're going to go to Evan Williams, they're like, why? We're going to go to Jim Beam. Why? Because all they know is the shelfer, the
Yeah.
$20 bottle. They're like, why would I go there? I'm like, the reason they can put out 5 million cases a year is because they have that much whiskey, and some of them are pretty good.
What's the name of this?
Lineage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay.
perfect name for it,
Let me
right?
ask you guys this.
No.
All right. So, at some point, you start thinking about legacy, right? So,
That's what I thought about when I thought
Lineage.
about lineage. Right?
Lineage.
Yeah.
Right.
not legacy, lineage.
fuck all you guys. Four Roses, right? They started doing their Four Roses. What is it?
Limited edition.
What is it though? Small batch limited edition.
Yeah.
No, they have their small batch select.
Right, but what's the limited edition? It's a small batch.
Edition.
They do small batch limited edition
I think it's
too.
small batch. I think it's small batch limited edition.
Okay. So yeah, it's their like signature.
It's
like,
the bottle that almost looks like this. It's embossed. It's got a
But
little
here's
bit of
the
text
thing.
on it.
Oh yes, I thought you were talking
What's
about
anniversary
What
one,
is
yeah.
the one that they did that everyone talks about?
Al Young.
Right? So at some point, people start talking about legacy. I think when you're in this industry, what am I going to leave behind? Right? You've got the Al Young.
The 50 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
No,
you've got-
50th anniversary, not 50 year.
But yeah, I know.
Yeah, that one's in that like.
But you've got the
Rectangle
Four
bottle.
Roses Al Young limited edition. That is the one everyone talks about.
Yeah.
Right? That's the unicorn of the limited editions. Everyone gets those limited editions every year because they're hoping they got lightning in a bottle again.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the one. That's the one that they put together as an homage, but at the same time, fucking amazing, right?
Yeah.
That's the one everyone talks about. So you get two no's together, right? That doesn't make a yes.
You can literally
Nothing.
drive
It does.
down.
Fair enough. But like my point is that are they trying to do something similar? Are they trying to make a legacy pick or a legacy barrel or a legacy batch or whatever? You know?
This is
Because-
phenomenal bourbon.
Because
I
their
mean,
marketing department's going to take care of the rest.
Yeah, they say, hey, this is the best thing we've ever put out. They'll make sure the packaging in the bottle and everything
Yeah.
is going to
But if the distillery
But the juice matches the marketing.
the juice has to be good.
so the
Yeah.
carpet matches the drapes is what you're saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
So but no, but again, like
Oh,
if
so he doesn't get shit for going to the bathroom?
He's not taking a shit.
Brett's
He's
not
peeing.
pooping like you did. He's just going to pee. But here's the thing: like, if you're at a point where you're in your career where you could potentially leave a mark that people are going to look back on and say, "God, do you remember that lineage? Do you remember that Al Young Four Roses?"
Yeah.
Do you not take that opportunity to do that,
Absolutely.
right?
And
And let the
it's-
marketing department handle
of course,
the rest of it.
Brett leaves, so I'm going to make a reference to Neat.
Right.
And like Ryan and I have talked about it, and we talk about it a lot, not just as a distillery, but just as a career. You know, they say in the documentary, movie, whatever you call it, you only make 2 15-year-old bourbons in your life.
Right. Freddie talks about that. He's like,
You make the first, you
Yep.
learn. You make the second, you retire.
Yeah.
So
And
you make
the-
2 in your
or
career.
you make the third one, but you never get to
you
see
don't,
it.
No, you make
never
it, but
get
you'll,
to see
you'll
it.
never be around
Right.
to taste it.
It's the third one you might make based, and you're hoping that you made the right adjustments,
After the second,
but
Yes.
you may not ever see
Yeah.
it. Right?
And then you think about what Julian did. It's like 23-year-old bourbon. Like, how many did he really get to push
maybe
through?
one.
Right.
Well, he made a whole bunch of them, but how many times did he get to adjust it? After, like 23 years later, has he gotten to see
Well,
the second adjustment yet? That's
Exactly.
that's the question.
I talk about this all the time, and people come in like, "What's your oldest bourbon?" You're 15 years old. Middle West is 15 years old.
yeah.
Well, when you're a small company, it's about revenue. So you sell everything you can
Sure.
to get every penny back in,
Yes.
so you
Yeah,
can
of
you can
course you
invest
do.
in your company,
Of course you do.
and operating costs and whatever it may be.
Without having to source. Right.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now, when people say, "Oh, you've been around 15 years," yeah, but our current still set is from 2016, so 7 to 8 years old.
Do you
So-
have anything
Yeah,
set back?
yeah. On accident. So funny story.
But you know what? You know what?
Perfect.
Wait, before
Funny
you
story.
say this, how many stories start but on accident?
Our
You know,
barrel aged honey
honestly.
vanilla bean on accident.
God, I love. First
Really?
off, I love
accident.
Didn't
your
know that.
barrel aged honey. So Trina and I just went to Leopard Road, Giant Eagle. They did not have the barrel aged. They just had the honey vanilla. It's sitting on our bar cart right
I
here.
can see it right now.
Yeah. But it's not the. And she's like, she comes up to me. This is how much of an impact it's made on her. She comes up to me. She's like, they only have the honey vanilla. They don't have the barrel aged. I'm like, oh. So I went and looked just to make sure. I moved some bottles
Yeah.
around because you never know.
Yeah.
That's all they had. She'll drink it, but she loves the barrel aged.
It just has a little
honey
bit
vanilla.
extra because it has a honeycomb.
Yeah.
But going back to old barrels, so when you guys came in and did your barrel pick, that was
Yeah.
2020, right?
Yes.
It was
Yep.
like August of COVID.
Yeah.
No, it was December.
December of
Yeah,
COVID.
It was December. Yeah.
It was cold.
So, you know all those barrels that were sitting in that room?
Yeah.
And Ryan was opening barrels and
we were
tasting-
just tasting everything.
Right. So
That
there were
was
two
awesome.
there were 2 wheat whiskey barrels in that room.
Yes.
And they were not very good. And we didn't open them for you.
You didn't. You opened up a
Oloroso.
Yep.
Yes.
But we had 2 regular wheat, and they got picked for single barrels, and then we were kind of so-so about it, and they seemingly got forgotten, and they just sat there. And then they got moved over to the new facility, and they sat there. And a while back, Kyle, who now runs our single barrel program, was like, hey, is this your handwriting? And if it's on the bung, I would write what it was, W for wheat, R for rye, because it was just easier as I was going through and pulling samples. Also, when I ran the single barrel program, we had like 4 barrels. Kyle has a little bit more to work with. So he was like, hey, like,
While you're
what
telling the story,
go for it, yeah.
you sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm probably gonna
Yeah,
have to peace
drink
out in a minute. By the way,
That's fine.
Because
I'm okay if you say no.
No, go for it. It's
Okay.
for drinking.
I think I'm gonna sign out real quick. I'm sorry.
All right, Brett's
Or
gotta
just
leave.
Wait till
pause.
the end of the story at least.
Okay.
All right.
I've been up since 4:15. I got to get up at 4:15 tomorrow.
Yeah, you gotta just wait till the
You
end
do
of the
this
story.
every
Hi, I have a
time.
job.
When you
let
guys
know.
want to get up on my time, we can do this podcast
I
at
will say
4 p.m.
we are also getting to the point
I
where
was
dude's
up
gonna
at fucking 5 a.m. this morning. I'm not that far behind you, fuck.
dude's gonna start
When are you getting
asking
up
about
tomorrow?
if we split this into
No, I'm
2
not.
different episodes.
Yeah, same. I'm
That's
gonna be up
the
at
thing.
4:15. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh my.
So we had those 2 barrels, and they sat forever and ever and ever.
Would
So
you pour yourself more?
Yeah.
that's fine.
I asked first,
Yeah.
dickhead. Shut up.
So those 2
But I
wheat,
spilled. That was the problem.
Yeah.
I missed the glass.
so the 2 wheat barrels
I
sat and
missed
sat and
the
sat.
glass on a 250. I owe him like $30 right now. Fuck.
So they got moved over
I'm
to
gonna have to
Alum.
fucking Venmo his ass $30.
That was an expensive mishap.
Fuck.
So it's those barrels just sat. And then Kyle at one point's like, why don't we pull some?
Shit, that was a heavy pour.
So
I
we,
didn't even realize.
I'll
so
help you with
we
that
pulled
if you
some
want.
samples.
I
One of the
might.
barrels is about to turn 6.
It's right
Other
there,
barrels about
fucker.
to turn 7. So we have 2 single barrels of wheat, one 6-year, one 7-year, and they're very good now. And they used to be mediocre; they're just regular barrels. And they
Are
just
these
sat.
the 30-gallon barrels?
30 gallons?
Okay.
And
Ooh.
the funny thing is, we were trying to figure out like, oh, this and that and the other, and we were looking up information on them. And I was like, I take pictures of everything just for historical record. I was like, I have pictures of these 2 barrels in that room, and they're probably the only 2 barrels from that room that are left with any product in them.
That's kind of cool.
So at some point we'll dump them and we'll do a single barrel release. But once in a while you're just like, oh yeah, that barrel's sitting over there. What's in there? And then you look at the label and it says like 2016. You're like, oh shit,
That's cool though.
That's cool.
that's been
shit.
around for a
Yeah.
while.
Whatever happened to the table that was in that room?
It's one of our conference rooms now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's one
Yeah,
of our
that's a
conference
cool
tables.
table.
Yeah.
That was, but it had such a history to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
Remember?
all
So
that.
Yeah, so the wood is from the first desegregated school
right.
in Ohio.
Mhm.
That was
when
cool
they
as
tore
shit.
it down, they sourced it and they built the table out of it.
That was
awesome.
To me, that was
Yeah, that was it was
It was
history.
awesome.
History's
Yeah.
interesting.
right. And we were sitting there. Everything was awesome that night. But the fact that we're sitting around a table that was like the first,
Yeah.
you know,
And who knows how old the wood is when it, like the trees and all
Right,
that
but
stuff, like,
yeah,
because it's just
and
all
I-
that's cool.
and again, that's cool. But that wasn't even to me the more important thing and the interesting thing was that it was it had
First
something
desegregated school,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That
So whenever you hit those barrels, we should do a follow-up
he said you
podcast.
can get some more if you want.
I'm signing out. Everyone,
Yeah, Brett has
have
to
a great
leave.
evening. I apologize, but I'm getting up at 4:15 again tomorrow, and I'd like to
Lame.
eat
Sign
dinner.
out. You could just set your headphones down.
Well, I was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
So
Just kidding.
Tyler,
For the few Brett fans that are
Tyler,
like, man, I didn't hear him on the last like 8 minutes of the podcast.
Tyler should now be near Michigan?
I don't know. I didn't know he was even going
You
to
mean
Michigan
call him?
today.
I think he's up to Michigan, right?
No, he was. Oh, I forgot his kids go to bed at freaking 6.
I know,
So-
but he wasn't leaving till after they went to
They
bed.
went to bed. Yeah.
So I
Oh,
think
damn.
he's on his way to Michigan
call
now.
him?
Nice.
Yeah, I think you should. But no, Brett.
Is that a serious?
As all,
question?
nah, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do an Andy Gallagher bottle kill episode. No, Brett. I'm glad you got to see me.
I'm glad that you guys got to see me. Rudra, Sam, Jeff, I haven't seen you guys in a fucking
Right.
minute.
This has
Pleasure
been
as always.
this has
So,
been nice. Like
yeah,
I know we didn't have
absolutely.
I know we made it a Smoke Wagon episode, but it's just been nice to
Yeah.
Sit outside.
get
and
all
just-
of us
yeah.
back together
Are
again.
we signing off then? And
No,
hanging
no,
out
no,
forever?
no, 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 no.
We're saying our preemptive goodbye.
We're saying our preemptive Brett goodbye.
Yeah.
I just meant
'Cause I
I
also,
also
like-
we were just gonna like sign off and then hang
No.
out for a
No,
minute.
well, I mean, we can do that here in a
Both.
second too, because we're over 2 hours right now. Minus the you hijacking my introduction.
That was like 3 minutes.
It was less than that.
That was like
less than that.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Brett, go home.
All right,
Go
I'll
home.
see you guys later.
Good to see ya.
Thanks
See you,
again,
Brett.
everyone.
Yep.
It's great seeing everyone.
Yeah. Brett, I'm glad you got to see me. And your scratch on your head.
See you, Brett.
So you were saying, sorry.
I don't even remember.
You were
Oh,
talking-
the single barrels. Yeah, we're
Single
gonna-
barrels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
single barrel. Single
There's-
barrels.
So, like the honey vanilla bean. Happy surprise. Sometimes barrels just get left behind. And not that they're lost, but they just get put away. And you go back in the system and you're like, we have barrels this old. Where are they at? And then you end up finding them. But I think that's the fun of it. And I think over time, we're a small distillery. We're a young company.
Yeah.
You know, everything is new. There's history, but it's new. I think I hope to retire from Middle West. You know, I vocalize this all the time.
I hope you retire from Middle West.
You know,
honestly.
His history is
Because what that means to me is that you guys were successful.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And
I'm
always,
not saying that in a goofy way. I mean that in a legitimate. I hope you have success at Middle West. I hope Middle West has success. I hope you honestly can retire from Middle West. How old are you right now?
34.
So, current retirement age is more like 70, right?
yeah, it's moving from 65 to 68 right now.
Yeah,
but
it's closer to 70. So by the time you retire, it'll probably be 70. You're how old again?
34.
So,
I'm on track to
30
retire at
30
60, and I plan
30
to do that.
like financially?
Yeah.
All right, then. But hopefully in 36 years or 26 years, you are able to retire.
Well, I want to have the option, right? That's like my
Yeah.
dad, right? My dad's like, should I retire at 59? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, nah, I'm going to work a little bit
No.
longer.
Why would you?
But if you love
what you do.
My dad is...
You
It's not
should have said it.
retiring.
You should have completed the sentence with me. We
Yeah.
were in stereo.
I know.
You did complete it in
He stopped.
I
He stopped
stopped, yeah.
halfway through.
But it's, I mean, truly, my dad is a mechanical engineer. He works on fighter jet turbines. He loves it. Loves
Right.
it.
Then why would you quit?
Right, yeah, and I hope-
because then you're going to be bored.
And that's exactly what.
Like-
And my dad has hobbies, but
If you're capable,
Right.
keep working.
my dad,
Why not?
My dad runs 4 or 5 days a week. He's super healthy. There's no like I need to stop working because my
Yeah.
body's broken
That's
down.
awesome.
Right. That-
So, like-
How old
exactly.
is your dad now?
60.
Okay.
He thought about it last year, and he's like, "Nah, I'll keep working." And I want I think it's like this. It's the option.
Yeah.
Having
The-
options
the
is
ability,
the true wealth,
if you
right?
want- yes.
It's not the money. It's if I
You're
want
working
to, I
because
can.
you want to, not
but
because
if I
you
don't
have
want
to.
to, I stop at any time.
100%.
But if he stops, as long as he has something.
Oh, he's got 100 things. He's
Perfect.
vice president of the Wetlands Association. He loves gardening. Like he's got 100 other
That's
things.
great.
But for him, he's like, I want to see out whatever project, or I want to see out whatever
Sure.
I've started because
Sure.
he's in the middle of a research
But
project.
if
He's
you
like,
choose correctly while you're choosing your career, then you shouldn't ever want to retire.
but I think
honestly.
the beauty of Middle West is like I think for me, I would love to work my way up, right? Be at the top, making these big decisions. But I also hope maybe one day when I'm like 55, I'm sure Ryan's gonna work until forever. I might be like, you know what? I just want to be a tour guide. I just want to when people come in,
That,
I want
honest
to
to
like
God,
Freddie. I want to
that
tell
is-
stories.
That is my goal.
I want to tell
is to
stories.
be a tour guide
I want
when
to do
I'm in my
tasting.
60s.
Yeah.
And I'll do it for fucking you guys. I don't fucking care.
And looking at Freddie in the Neat documentary and seeing people who you're not driven by I have to, you're driven by I want to.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
he
a
wants
huge
to be there.
difference.
He wants to be doing tours and my
And you
friends
can
are like
tell it.
Yeah, my
You
friends
can
are like I
tell.
went and Freddie gave my tour. I'm like, no, he's a for real tour guide. He didn't just do it for the documentary and he doesn't do it for photo ops. He's a for real on the schedule tour guide. You can sign up for a tour. He might be your tour guide.
And if you get him,
It's the best tour.
right? It's
Every
like-
single time.
It's like holy shit.
I will,
Have you had them?
No.
That you've heard? Okay.
Yeah, but
I was just
I've-
wondering.
I've had friends
I'm
who've
saying
had it.
that
Well, who's the
lore of
Montgomery
it is
Gentry
like-
drummer that is at Wild Turkey? What's his name?
Oh,
I can never remember
gonna
his name,
blank.
but as soon as I hear it, I'm like, oh, okay. Like he and Jason from the Mash and Drum are friends.
Yeah.
He's a tour guide at Wild Turkey,
Well,
but he was a drummer for Montgomery Gentry.
It's similar to
That's
the
cool.
experience that we had at Peerless when we went down.
I'm
Like,
gonna
what
stop
sells-
Sam. I'm gonna stop you because no, when you tell your story, this is gonna make perfect sense. You know who changed how I gave tours at Middle West? Elena.
Really?
Years before you ever met her, we went last year, and you got to meet her, and you got to see her tour. We went. I think it was like 2019. We went to all these tours, and we went on her tour. And I was like, this is going to completely change how I give tour. Because I always gave a tour that was technical. I want you to learn every little tidbit and every little fact about Middle West. But you go on Elena's tours, and all you feel the entire time you're on a tour is how much passion she has for Peerless.
100%.
Well,
It makes
and
all
if
the
you-
difference in the
If you go
world.
to
If you love something,
90% of the tours, they're doing that technical. This is
Correct.
how we do it. This is why we're different. So
Now, I want Sam to tell his experience because I now have become friends with her. And I told her, I was like, you changed my complete view on how I view my career.
that's awesome.
Because I want people to fall in love with the way you made me fall in love with Peerless in the first 10 minutes.
That's the exact, like, there's a different aura around a company that is like 20-person strong versus 200-person strong. At 20-person strong, a successful company is reliant on the passion of the average person. Everyone is there, even if they don't care about like the product they are selling, they care about the team. And that was when like Elena was giving that tour, like what was sold was just how much she cared about where she was. Like her moment in history was like, this is important to me and I want to share that importance with you.
Yeah.
And that's what sold the tour. That's what sold the company. That's what sold the bourbon. Like everything about that was better because she cared. And it wasn't even that she cared about like the product was good and she cared about the product, but she cared about making sure that like she was in a fun and important moment in that company's history. And that was wildly different than any like of the other curated or like very clinical tours that we would get. Like, here, I'm going to insert joke, pause for laughter. Here, I'm going to move. And it was very like choreographed.
insert egg picture.
Exactly.
That's why
Thank
you missed out on the Yellowstone for sure.
Bo Gentry, or no, sorry, Bo Garrett was the guy at part of Montgomery Gentry that was he was the bass player, not the drummer. Bo Garrett. He also works at Wild Turkey, just to close that loop. Loving what you do shows and becomes evident whenever you're doing anything for your job. If you love what you do, it shows.
Yeah.
And like what you're talking about, that becomes evident when you're giving a tour, when you're doing anything, when you're talking about something. If you truly love or believe in the product, sales-wise, if you believe in the product, it's easier to sell.
For sure.
If you believe in your underlings.
If you
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Padawans,
I was texting my wife.
you touch more people. Hey, was that a
Yeah.
What was that called?
Chekhov's
callback.
Chekhov's
Gun.
touching more people.
Chekhov's gun.
No, that was a callback,
Callback,
because you didn't
Chekhov's
like
gun,
set
whatever.
you didn't like set. Yeah, that
Fair
was
enough.
a callback.
Fair enough. Either way, Chekhov's gun, callback, whatever. But you touch
I feel like
so
there's
many
a
more
difference
people.
between
There
There
is.
may
is.
be.
There
There's
is.
a slight difference. There for sure is. But when you love what you do, it translates in your persona, in your
Absolutely.
presentation of stuff. Like it's to me, it's obvious. I think when you love what you do, it shows. And
100%.
For sure.
that type of thing makes it infectious too. Like when you go to a distillery and you talk to someone who loves and believes in what they're doing, you want to buy their stuff.
So same thing that like when you were asking me before we got on stream, like, what do you want to drink tonight? I noticed the bottle of Peerless that was just on your shelf.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't like it was Peerless. What flooded my mind was the memories
That story
of
you just
Yeah.
right.
And so
Sure.
I now have that like permanent connection with the name of the brand with Elena's passion.
That Peerless I have, by the way, it's a double oaked. It's very good. It's really good. Surprisingly, I haven't drank as much of it as it is good, but I have too many things to drink through right now. So
Flex.
fair enough. Flex enough. Flexing. A flex off.
Speaking about flex offs, I gotta flex on out of here too.
Yeah, we're 2 hours and 15 minutes into this, minus your fucking 20-minute intro that you had when you interrupted.
All right, so this is a two-parter episode?
It may be. It may not be. I don't know.
Those are always phenomenal because you listen to the opening of the first episode and you're like, all right,
We're
this makes
sober.
sense.
We're sober.
And then you like hear the opening of the second and you're like,
We're
oh.
drunk.
Just
They're
split
drunk.
'em. Just like
They're
split 'em.
drunk. They are drunk. So, first and foremost, holy shit, this lineage is good.
Yes.
It's very good.
This was a great cap to the evening. The Smoke
I will tell
Wagon-
you, there's a lot of anxiety opening. I was like, if this
Were
is
you?
bad, I bought it. If I'm drinking
you
somebody
bought
else's
two.
expensive bottle, I'm like, that's trash. Whatever. I'm not worried about it.
Sure.
But if you
I get
buy it,
that.
you're like, man, if it's not good, it's real bad.
To piggyback on what you were saying, I had no anxiety because it was your bottle. But holy shit, after tasting it, I didn't even know this bottle existed, first off, until you texted it to me earlier yesterday or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
I'm like, okay, sure, sounds good. And then I looked it up. I was like, okay, sure, bring it in. But like, I didn't even know what we were going to do before we started today. Smoke Wagon just kind of jumped out at me.
Hey,
so
it's good.
I don't know if it's the me looking at the price of a bottle that
that makes
I
it
spend
tough
on.
sometimes.
It's like, I don't have anxiety about opening expensive bottles because it's like, it's going to be good. And like sometimes I'm like, yeah, this isn't as good as like the price that I paid for it, but it still doesn't. I don't know. So I don't know if that is heavily weighted on. Well, I spent this much money on it, so I know it's got to be a little bit good.
So for me, someone made a point, it's been a couple years ago, that said a good price, just generically on average, for a bourbon is $10 per year of aging. So this is 15 years old, $150 I feel like would be a great price for this. $250 I'd probably pay for it now that I've had it. However,
But if you hadn't had it, would
if
you
I
have
hadn't
spent
have
that
it,
much on
I don't know. If I was at the distillery and I got the amazing,
Should I?
Yeah, like I'd probably buy it because I'm like, oh shit,
And
it's here.
It's also fear of missing out, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Every
FOMO
time you
for
hear
sure.
FOMO.
you hear your friends, I was there, so I bought it, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's me right now.
But this is
If
one
I
of
don't
those
buy it,
cases
I
where it
would-
actually paid off.
Correct, and I would have hated to be where I am now,
If
4
it
or
was-
5 months later, and look it up and be like,
God,
damn,
it's terrible.
everybody loves it.
What
and
was
it's
the
a
one-
$1,000 bottle.
Oh, if you didn't buy it,
Yeah.
What was the one bottle that you texted dude about, and then he was like, "Nah, I've heard bad things. Pass on it."
So that was the Woodford Reserve,
Yeah, the-
5 malt,
Yeah.
whatever.
But even
That's
funny,
the one we got.
We got it,
Or
and
the higher entry proof.
we
Yeah.
hadn't opened it yet. He texted me about it, and I'm like, I've heard bad things about it, but
which is fine, and I appreciate the feedback. But even so, like the other bottle that I've bought that was at the time expensive, didn't know anything about, was the Copper and Kings and Bardstown Bourbon Company collection.
yeah, the
Mistel.
Mistel, yeah.
And I was there, and it's that square bottle, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And they're like, oh, it's a new distillery, and we finished their bourbon in our Mistel barrels. And there were two different. There was a dark label and a light. And I said, which one's good? And he's like, the lighter label is much better. I said, sure, I'll buy that. $125. Like, at that point, most expensive bottle I'd ever bought. I think it was 2018, maybe 2017. And we bought it, and my friend's like, what are you doing? I'm like, why not, man? This guy said it was that good. I'll buy it. Took it back, got to I think it was our Airbnb. We opened it, and we loved it. We're like, damn, this is really good.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't buy another, but it's really good. And I've gotten to know Danny from Bardstown and Brandon, who runs their marketing. And I was talking to them, and Danny's like, what's your favorite Bardstown bottle you've ever had? And I was like, oh, the Mistel barrel, the white label that you did with Copper and Kings. And we were in there, like speakeasy. And he's like, oh, yeah, that one? I'm like, yeah, that one. He goes, if you hadn't opened it, one of those just sold for $1,900.
Fuck. but that's not why you buy bourbon, right?
No, and I told him I opened it 10 minutes after I bought it.
Right.
I said we left Copper
Honestly,
King, drove to our
minus-
Airbnb, and we opened it.
Minus this fuck bag over here, I think most of us.
The Wild Turkey one.
Yeah.
Remember when we did that?
Yeah.
That was a phenomenal bottle too.
And like it hasn't gotten great reviews.
But
It's gotten
loved
good
it.
reviews, but again, how much of your review, your personal review, comes from the experience leading up to it?
That's the same
Right.
reason that like the initial Bourbon Hunters Middle West pick, like it still stacks up against every.
Yes,
but like I have a bottle of that I will never open because to me
I have a bottle I will never open as
the
well.
memory of that is worth more
I've
than
got
the bourbon that's
2.5
inside.
bottles left. One bottle I will probably never open until I'm in my 60s. Honestly, if I live that long.
Something we need to do is Kyle, who runs our single barrel program. I tell him about that bottle all the time.
Fuck.
I'm like, you have to come over and try it.
Yes.
Because you would never
It is
guess.
a unicorn.
It is.
It is.
The age and a 30-gallon barrel. I'm like, that bourbon shouldn't be that good. It
Dude,
shouldn't.
I
It's
told you about
phenomenal.
mine. I got
Buckhorn
one from you
Podcast
guys.
just cashed their last bottle of it.
So-
and they were like, this is one of the best bottles we've ever had.
Yep.
They posted it on their Instagram. They tagged you guys. They're like, this is they're like,
This is it. This is bourbon.
this is it. This
I
is the
got
end of it.
one. I got one, and
Have you
my
cashed it
buddy,
yet?
my buddy bought one. So I cashed mine. It was I burned through it.
It was so good.
So my buddy about 6 months ago, he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna get rid of some of my bourbon. You know, I'm getting married."
he had an unopened bottle of
He
it.
had an unopened bottle, and I was like,
I'll take that off you. 20
"I'll take
bucks.
that.
20
yeah,
bucks.
whatever you bought it for, I'll take it." He's like, "Okay, you can have it." I opened it, started drinking it, and I was like, "Oh man, dude, it's gone.
It's
Yeah.
But
It's
that's
gone.
it's worth
I
it.
couldn't
though.
quit
Yeah.
drinking it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is that
like.
good.
Listen,
I
like
thought to myself, I'm gonna keep this one. This is like the nostalgia and
I
how
know.
good it is.
I want to take
love-
credit for that bottle. Like, you know what I mean?
That was I bought 6 of them, intending to give some away as Christmas
I think I
presents.
bought, like-
I gave 0 away.
I think I bought like 15 or 16, gave away like 3
yeah.
or 4, and I've got like 2.5 left. And
That's that is the gold standard of like this entire podcast is
I'm
all
not
coming
telling-
back to that bottle.
honest to God, like people who haven't had it yet, I've sent it to other podcasts and they've been like, damn, this is good. Either a whole bottle or a sample or something.
I'm just bummed I opened the last one because as soon as I open it, I'll drink.
You knew it was gone.
This
yeah.
is the thing.
Yeah.
So we're at over 100,000 downloads now. We need to set a threshold somewhere, either number of episodes or maybe the 200th episode. We're at 172. This is our 172nd episode. Maybe 172 and 173. We'll see. We need to set a threshold where we do a bottle kill on that bottle. I've got 2.5 left.
Save that for like a 200th.
Yeah.
That's
episode.
what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah, 200th episode.
Yeah.
And we do a bottle kill, and I still have one left back. But like,
Are you gonna get to 200 by December?
well, how many
Challenge accepted.
How many weeks? We're in
52
July.
years.
It'll be close.
26 weeks. It's gonna be real close.
It'll be close. Yeah. If it's in December, or if it's close to December,
Or you can just post it on the 200th.
right?
You can
That's
just
what I was
love
thinking.
it.
Figure it out. Maybe.
Yeah.
I might donate a bottle of that for the. Fuck. It's coming up close because this is 172, and how many weeks are left in the year? Like 30, right?
26.
Or, no, 20.
So then
We're in July
That
now.
was-
Yeah, 20.
26.
do you want to do
It's not going to be 200, but we could do the
It's like
bottle
20
kill, and I could post it
Almost
for the 200.
25
right? 'Cause we're-
weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll be
Do
like
the-
3 or 4 episodes short, but I could, like you said, we
Or-
could record it and then put it at the 200th episode.
if you want to savor it, do the 250th. Call your shot that far in advance.
Damn, that'd be like another
I
whole
know.
season in.
I know.
That'd be cool.
I'll be around.
I know you will. I may not be.
I have
My
no
lifestyle, I may not be.
Yeah, the clean eating
All right,
and
I gotta
working
get
out.
out of here.
All right.
All right.
Hey, so let's sign off. I will say, Rudra, thank you for bringing the Jim Bream
That's how much he's out of it. It's
lineage.
that good.
I've still got some left over here.
Benzene.
Jim Beam lineage. $250 MSR. Yes, have some more.
have a
Seriously,
little bit more.
it's fucking good.
Yeah,
really
it's for
good.
drinking.
There's some on the glass
Oh,
where I
yeah, just
spilled. If you want to
Tilt
just
it off the table. Yeah.
fuck. Did you have a little extra?
No.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining in. This has been a long, extended episode. We may cut this into 2. It's 2.5 hours right now. 2:26. But yes, that's
There
right.
we go.
Imitate.
There we
there
go.
it is. Thanks for joining in, guys. I'm going to sign off. Let everyone say their goodbyes. Sam?
Sam Shaw, thank you for joining as always. Long-time guest, first-time listener.
You've never listened.
I've never listened.
Jeff Truss.
That's it?
Yeah,
That's all you got. Fair enough.
VP of whatever.
VP of sales. VP
Hey,
of collections.
If you haven't paid attention, he is a VP. Rudra.
Rudra Trevetti, bourbon fan, and employee of Middle
Tangentially
West.
related.
Tangential employee of Middle West.
Tangential fucking alcohol person. Middle West
Tangent.
Spirits. I love
Can't
that
even
we.
say it.
I love. You can't say the word.
Chekhov's word.
He was just introduced to the word tonight. He still can't say it. Tylerisms.
Tangential.
He added a D. He added a D to it.
And on that note,
He gave it the D.
he gave it the D.
He gave it the D. All right, guys. See you next week. Who knows what we're talking about? Thanks, guys. Thanks. Thank you for joining in for yet another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. If you like what you hear, please leave us a good rating on Apple, Podbean, Google, or wherever you are listening. It definitely helps us to get great guests on our show. And follow us on Instagram and the Facebooks to keep up to date with what is in our glass. As always, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon.